You're gonna talk about it tonight.
Don't hate me, but I
I
think
think
have
we
all
should.
these to add to the agenda.
Yes,
Friday, Thunder, Friday.
if we have blighted property.
No, it's not allowed.
Yeah, I don't, that's what the agenda's for.
Yes,
No, you're
we're
not.
not changing the
I'm just for
agenda.
vetoing things.
It was nice and short, we're leaving it there.
Because it'd
I
be
still
an
need to
issue.
add some.
These won't take very long. I just wanted to.
So yeah, no, but
I'm
it's just like we were announcing who the individual was.
I promise we just speed along. The fourth one, I don't know.
But
You better
we
make
need to
it
get on.
Real
speed
But
limit.
it's all
Oh,
continuing.
hey, Stephanie?
Yeah. all
Yeah.
continuing.
Yeah, I saw the buoys laying on next to the.
I think we're gonna go broke from me calling
Over there?
Stephanie 10 times.
There was
today.
one, then there was two. Now
Now
there's
there's
I
three.
gotta check and
I
see if
knew
we
there
got
was gonna be
changed.
one more.
It did,
There's
yay.
something.
Just a couple.
Marsha, was it you? There's some black thing over
Hello,
there.
Mary Jane, nice to see you again.
Like a big giant barrel.
Right.
It's like floated on the fence and I was out there a month ago. It was a hedge still on the lake. Now it's up against the.
All right, call the meeting to order.
Oh, is it that?
7 o'clock here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I know it's leaning. It's been in the wind.
And all that rain we've had in the last year or two is kind of settled.
Not even made by
I
nine.
wanna
He's
know
be
what's
kinda
on the
off
box.
at least.
I wanna know what's in that smart one.
All right, call to order,
Like that.
roll call. Michelle.
Here.
Annie.
Here.
Brett.
Here.
Justin.
Here.
Kim.
Here.
Everybody had a chance to look over the agenda.
I did. I wanted to add some things to the agenda.
I have an addition to.
I didn't make it before you left on Friday, so I didn't get it. But I wanted to add buoys in that sunk boat at the continuing business.
Okay.
And then I have the concrete bid for the sidewalks. And I know that's probably considered new city business, but I want to have Meek's fence on there before this concrete bid.
I'm sorry, you want to have what?
Meek's fence before we talk about the concrete bid.
Meek's fence.
Yes.
Okay, all right, gotcha. All right,
Yeah, put it on.
put it under what?
New, we'll
New.
put Meek's fence in the concrete bid under new, and then the buoys in the sunk boat. And continuing.
I just want to add myself on department. I just have a real quick.
Okay.
I can go last.
I'll move to approve the agenda
As with the additions.
with the additions.
Okay.
I second.
Motion to approve in a second. Any further discussion? Those in favor? 5-0. Take your time reading the approval of the minutes. That was a pretty good issue over the last 48 hours, I think.
There's just a couple minor mistakes.
They were all minor, but they were important ones.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
On the council review of structure permit request to build stairs down to their dock, is that about the people above it? Mitchell Devon?
It's Romig's.
Romans.
Oh, there's just no name. Oh,
Is there not?
it's right below it, I guess.
It should be in the,
The approval.
yeah.
Okay, that's fine. That's all. I'll second.
Motion to approve and in discussion. Those in favor? Approval of minutes, 5-0. All. Okay. Approval of appropriation ordinance 1495.
I'll move to approve 1495.
I second it.
Have a motion to approve and second. Any discussion? Those in favor?
Roll call.
Roll call. Thank you. Michelle,
Yes.
Annie,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Justin. Yes. Tim.
Yes.
Thank you. At this time, are there any public concerns or comments?
I was just gonna say, I saw a barrel or something floating at the lake when I drove around today with kids. And it's over by the spillway and it's been there a while, but now it is up against that guardrail. And we were just chatting about it and Jerry said he hasn't seen it, but it's possible it could be off of someone's floating. That's by the way I described it. The one that goes across the spillway so it doesn't, the cable. So it's just a big old black looking thing. And it's been out in front of the spillway, but the water's been too low and strong to push it over. But with the rain, it's pushed it up to that. And I think it would have pushed on through the wire because it's kind of low on that side, but it hit one of the stand-up posts. I don't know what it is though. I saw it there, so if anybody wants to take a gander at it.
I will make a note of that and have our city boys take a look at it.
Yeah, they're doing that. Somebody's seen it.
Can't have chickens in
Oh, I
town.
can hear it. For the record.
Riley.
Get rid of the roosters so she makes it her phone.
No roosters in the meeting.
Hi.
That was great.
No? I don't think so.
Okay, any further comments? Okay, department reports.
Yeah, that was a couple of days ago. You just got it late.
Well, she's on the phone, so let's
Yeah.
go Stephanie.
I don't have much. You guys have a financial sheet, and then Mission Valley After Prom sent you guys a thank you letter for your After Prom donation. And then I think everything. Oh, I was gonna bring up one issue. So Carrie, who normally subs for me, she has a new job. So she really hasn't been able to sub much. So I didn't know, like I'm looking for suggestions, I guess, on what you guys think I should do from here, because it's really hard to get subs in when I'm only calling them every once in a while. So it has to kind of be
So did
someone
Connie
who can-
answer her?
That's
Just
who
do
I
it.
was gonna suggest.
I don't know if she's still interested. I had asked her, it's been, I guess, a couple of years ago.
Oh, she ain't got nothing else to do. Call her.
Should we advertise it? Do you
Well,
want
I just
advertise?
didn't know.
I would call her first since she has been a fill-in and we haven't really had the need.
I think we have an urgent need for a fill-in for Friday that's coming. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So we'll give what?
Was Lisa.
Oh, I don't know. But I
She
like the
got
idea.
another job.
I like the
She
idea of
works full-time.
advertising for it as well. But for temporary for this week, this Friday, this week, either Lisa or Connie.
Okay.
See if they can fill in for the
And if
day.
they're not interested.
Then we move on. Then Tim comes in. He takes a day off from work and comes in and be a city clerk.
Yeah. I just
No,
didn't
I'm
know.
just kidding on that. But
And we had kind of talked to, I don't know if I want to put it out there about possibly having like a treasurer. I know Carrie and I have talked about it in the past, like someone part-time who could also fill in. And then, cause she used to be the treasurer. I just don't know how often,
I'm glad you
how many
mentioned that
hours.
because at the conference I attended, it was made very clear to us that the city clerk and the treasurer cannot be the same person. They have to be separate. I think that's the reason why we have Teresa as a signer and her title as treasurer, but she doesn't do anything for us as treasurer. She's just a signer. So we consider hiring a person to be a treasurer, even if it's part-time, even if it's 8 hours a week or whatever it takes. If if it doesn't take very much, then obviously we don't need a full-time. Who's done it in the past, treasurer work, you know?
Carrie has.
Carrie has. Can we get an idea from her how long she needs to do that, or how long the job would take? It doesn't necessarily have to be her.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it'd be whatever. Yeah.
Okay, let's find out. Let's find out what Carrie thinks it takes to be a part-time treasurer in order to get the work done. And likewise, let's get somebody in here temporarily for this Friday. And then after that, we can put an advertisement in the paper needing a treasurer for X number of hours a week.
And some, treasurer and some, right?
Treasurer and.
Yes.
Well, I just
yeah,
figured it would be.
if you
yeah,
could, if the treasurer could,
I mean,
I guess technically the treasurer couldn't fill in as a sub for the clerk though either.
I don't know
Same
why
way.
they couldn't if they were already in the office though, is my deal.
Well, you're in the
If they
office
weren't
too,
doing
but
their duties as treasurer on that day, would that make a difference?
Todd, legal opinion maybe?
They're being both clerk and the.
Treasurer.
No, we have a separate person as treasurer, but the clerk is not here, so the treasurer does clerk duties on that day, but not the treasurer.
So like an assistant clerk. Yeah, I mean, there is no restriction on that person being a clerk too. I think what it is, and the reason you have a separate treasurer position
Checks and balances.
is, yeah,
Right.
is to check. And then you got audits and the budgeting process. So it doesn't harm anything to have the treasurer assign duties. Sometimes, the only thing I can think of is that sometimes the insurance companies have maybe different bonding requirements. If you,
And that might be.
meaning that you have to be bonded to be both a clerk and a treasurer. But I didn't know if they would make you do something different if they were both.
I don't think so.
I think I can find out.
Well, that's just,
But
I'm assuming it's probably not that big a deal for them to do it that way, but.
this isn't something we have to have done tonight anyway. We won't have time to do it tonight, but a little research, maybe by the next city meeting within the month, a month from now. We'll have more information that could, I just want to know if you guys want to go ahead and advertise for a part-time position.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, that is that if Connie or Lisa don't want it, or you're gonna advertise anyway? You're just getting somebody for Friday and.
Well,
I mean, I would like someone for longer than that because I mean, I have vacation days that I would like to take, and Carrie's made it. You know, she can't always do it, which I totally understand. This is just a very hard
So she doesn't
job
want to
for
do
someone.
it anymore?
No,
or
no,
she
no, no, no.
wants-
No,
Jerry,
she's not able to because she got another job. Like she's gonna fill in the morning for me on Friday or on Thursday, this Thursday. But that's kind of all she can do right now are Thursdays. So
Gary, back in the day, we used to have Janice Sherman and Colleen Bowers, and it is a big job, and they substitute for each other. You might say Colleen did sit in for Janice when she needed to go to meetings and stuff like that, or miss a day of work. That's all. It was a while ago.
Right.
needless to say, but yeah,
I think that's similar to, I could be wrong, but what Carrie and Lisa did too. Because when Lisa was clerk, Carrie was the treasurer for a while at least. I don't know how long that lasted, but
does anyone know if, I knew that Carrie was not employed anywhere here recently, but I understand that she might have a full-time job. Is anybody aware of that? Anybody heard that rumor?
yeah.
You think?
I don't know if it's a full-time job, but I think she's working.
Okay, well, we can find that out too, because
Yeah.
if she's
It is
working,
a full-time job.
she does have a
I was
full-time
like,
job.
she has like some
Like 4
Thursdays
10-hour
that
days
she
or
can,
something,
yeah. Thursday's kind of the only day that she can do it. so.
If you can only take Thursdays off for your vacation, then that would work. No, I'm just kidding you on that as well. All right, so probably Carrie is out of the question, probably. Lisa's on the housing board. Could that make a difference as to whether she's working as a treasurer or not?
They don't have a supervisory role, so no.
Wouldn't matter. Okay. Okay. All right. We can still ask Carrie because things change. So her and Lisa, and at the same time,
And
let's
Connie.
go ahead- and Connie. At the same time, let's get an ad in the paper.
Okay.
Okay. And I'll get with you tomorrow on verbiage for that ad. Okay.
you looking for a job?
All right. It can't be anybody that works at the lumberyard.
Um,
Just kidding, Jerry. Okay, anything else, Stephanie?
That's it.
Okay, let's move to the Julie Biznet. We skipped over you because your chickens were running loose.
Oh, yay.
Okay.
All right, well, I'm gonna stand over here because I had a complaint at the last city council meeting that they could hear me but couldn't see me, so here I am. Okay, so here is, take one passed around, how about that? That is the report that Mary Jane has written up of what we have spent all year. This is, and I didn't make copies of it because it's gonna be a big waste of paper. The report that comes off of the square. And in my contract, it says that I have to use Astra. And I'm more than willing and prepared to do that for the camping and the boating permits that you guys need to do. But if you could see that the point of sales thing that goes on with Astra, you would so be on my side. I wanted you to come out this weekend, you didn't.
I'm sorry.
Michelle showed up and my internet was out, which is another big old problem that I'm going to address. But Stephanie has all the information here because she set the square up for me. So anytime anybody wants to see what I'm doing out there, you can come in here and have Stephanie print that off for you. Because, and then we can set up the boat and the camping and whatever to the city account, which it'll go directly into it. And then I don't have to keep track of what you guys are getting and what I'm getting, because at this moment, you know, we're having to, as you can see, where Mary Jane's keeping track, what you guys get and what I get. And the internet out there is spotty at best for the last few days, and I know that they had trouble with that last year too. The phone's not working, hasn't for 3 days. Somebody called me today, and when I answered it, went dead. So I don't know what.
I don't think that's related to the bait house by itself because it's happening with me. I'm calling the city hall. She answered the phone and
Yeah.
nobody can talk.
City Hall's phone's not working either, and I called CenturyLink.
And Mary Jane did
You guys
too.
are on the ticket too, but yeah, I guess we're at their mercy.
Have it
biggest
fixed
problem
sometime
is-
between 8 and 5 on Friday, I'm sure.
We're scheduled on the 13th to have them come and try to repair it. The problem is that without the internet, we cannot utilize Astra.
Right.
It will only stay on, if we're lucky, 10 minutes at a time. So we get the phone calls and we can't utilize Astra right now. We can't use it to book, which we are trying to get that fixed. So
Right, because we can't use that for that. We can't use the square. I mean,
You can't use point of sale at all when Astra's down.
no,
They don't-
or when the
okay.
computer's down,
Yeah.
or when the internet's
It
down.
has to be
it's all over the internet.
Yeah, it's all connected.
Yeah.
Have they said what's wrong with the internet? Because it shouldn't just be spotty all the time. Like, I don't understand that. I would not.
I
They
don't know.
do not
Has
tell
been
us.
for years.
I was gonna say, it's been an issue for a long time around here.
They're ready to
They
sell
haven't
it
given me
second
any
half of this year.
suggestions. I mean, we shouldn't be letting that go. We're
Every
paying
time I
a payment.
hear that we put a ticket in, there's supposed to be some technician that takes care of us, and
I mean, are we paying for the
we
technician to show up?
always
Because they
have
start
the
charging that too.
same issue.
What
So
was
I
the
don't know.
box that was all?
They didn't
broke up?
say. we
That was
wanna-
a CenturyLink box, but I don't know that it goes to even anything.
And he was supposed to be out and fix it. Have they fixed it?
no,
No.
So it's been in pieces for days.
Well, I see him working on the highway. I see the CenturyLink truck on the highway, you know, right where it comes into the lake. But he didn't come on down to the lake or anything.
They don't always come actually talk to you. That's the most frustrating part about the entire service.
Right. But anyway, my point is, if I can give you a report like this every month,
And we have access to it.
absolutely.
Yes.
Stephanie knows all my info.
Instant access.
The nice thing would be is that Astra is its own, like it goes directly into the city, and then Julie's stuff goes directly into Julie's
Right.
account. So they're two very separate things. And
Right.
point of sales on Astra is not the easiest.
The guy who actually was helping Mary Jane install or do whatever on Astra said that 90% of the people don't use the point of sale on Astra just because they wanted to know how many, we'll use example for bags of ice. How many bags of ice I had, so 60, how much I paid for them, how much I was selling them for, and then they would go from there. I mean, it was just this big rigmarole.
Every single inventory item you got.
Absolutely.
Every single
Yeah,
one.
everything.
And then the other problem is they were telling us on the phone that you can only do like how many
300 items.
The max amount was like 300, but to get to them, you have to go into the POS spot. In that section, there are 9 boxes, and each box holds 36. And that's all you've got for point of sale transactions. So once you hit all of that, but then you've got to figure out which one is in which one. So you're backtracking, looking, as compared to the square, we can just boom, 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 boom. And we're done and they're out the door.
Now, is Astra also charging you $3.50 when you make a point of sale for your
No.
inventory?
No, it's only for
Point
the
of sale does
camping.
not charge $3.50.
No, it doesn't.
Only camping does.
Only the camp.
Right.
But
Just clarifying that.
everybody we use charges credit card
correct.
fees.
There's a processing fee.
So that's
Right.
separate from the camping fee. Just to clarify that.
Thank
That's
you.
And because they won't be doing
It's about time
a
you said that.
$3.50 on all of your boating or your
I'm gonna
fishing
tattoo it
permits.
up here.
Well,
It's
and the-
just the camping.
And did you check into getting me a swiping card?
Yeah,
for it?
yeah. It's supposed to be on the way.
Excellent.
But the
I figure by
I think
June
it's
1st that
overseas.
Astra should be set up.
I mean,
Just-
on the upside of that, putting in all the inventory you have means that it should tell you, right, when you're running low on something, or you should have a full count
I
at
can
all
walk
times.
around. It's,
But I
house
know
is this
it's a
big.
big house. It's all different.
yeah, but the house is this big. I don't have any problem walking up and down 2 aisles.
in my mind, I guess it's just always made sense that if Astra goes right into the city, because like even when Dave was talking about this, in my mind, I thought that's how it should be set up. Is that so everything is separate, because if everything goes to Astra, we still have to do a lot of work to keep track of sales and figure out transfers or checks back and forth, when really it could be set up to, they could use the
To
computer
simplify
to
it.
do Astra, and all that goes to the city account, and then they can use theirs to go to their account.
Okay.
I don't know.
I think
I
that's
mean,
easier. I mean, we gotta get the internet working because people can't book with you online, and the whole
Right.
point of us being on the website is useless.
And she can't verify if somebody has.
Right. So I mean,
Right.
that can't
Right.
continue.
Well, and it's not going yet. So as
No.
soon as
we very much make sure that like they don't start anything until
And
I
I
call
would make
them
sure
and
you have a
say,
solid week of good internet before you
absolutely,
start.
Yeah.
absolutely. That's
Of
why
course.
that's why I say I'm shooting for June 1st, because I don't.
So what are we paying a month for internet service for the bait house?
I have to look it up. I don't know off the top of my head because we have so many accounts. I mean,
Would you find it out, please? Not right now,
Yes.
but
And I did call Stephanie this morning to give her an update that the phone went down over the weekend, because where they can't reach us, I wanted her to know, to feel that she was going to be fielding more calls.
except they can't reach me either.
So
Hey,
Nice.
if you can't reach
Yeah.
Stephanie, call Julie.
Well, they actually called the market today, and then someone came over to the market, and they're like, "Well, Benson County Sheriff's Department's trying to call you." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, okay." I had no idea. So yeah. No, it's
Annie?
today.
Yeah.
how's Starlink working for you guys?
I couldn't say yet. We had to put it on top of our house because we have too many trees.
So you're not up. to
My
minute.
whole yard is ringed with trees, so it knocks it down. It does work well. It is quite an expensive upstart, but I think it would work really well at the lake. I mean, and I don't think there's a wait right now. So if you guys want to invest in that, I think it's like $600 up front and then $110 a month.
Yeah,
So
I made it.
it's
I
now,
not
is it
comparable.
satellite based?
Yes.
It is, but it's
So
a different
if
kind
it's-
of satellite, so there's no ping issues.
Well,
Like,
no, I was thinking of like when TV, if you get really heavy clouds and
Yeah,
you get
it
these
can
storms that we
be
get with
affected.
Kansas,
yes.
would that affect it?
But I could talk to Jim has it and his neighbor has it too, and they've had almost no issues with it. And he just stuck it in the yard. So we just have to get it above our house.
They're going to have it way whole bunch, several hundred, if not thousands of those satellites going around the world when they get fully
It,
operational.
it's not as bad as that because my parents had satellite for a long time. Anytime the weather was bad, it would just drop service. But it's not like that, and it connects so much faster that if you drop service, it shouldn't be affecting your like daily business so much.
When I was looking at it, was either $4.99 or $5.99 the initial
It's
install, and then $109 a month. Marsh, is that what it was?
So it might be worth looking into, especially if CenturyLink is not. I mean, if you get on the phone and have a stern conversation and they still are not fixing anything,
And
or
also
telling
think-
us
Well,
what to
but
do.
here's the problem. I got on Saturday, I called when ours went down. It took me 45 minutes to get to a live person.
Yeah.
Then this morning, at that time, they told me they would come on Friday the 13th, blah, blah, blah. They said, call back on Monday morning, get a hold of them, see if you can bump it up due to tickets being done, so on and so forth over the weekend, projects going faster. I got on the phone at like 8 o'clock this morning, and at 9:30, I still could not get a representative. No matter how I tried, no matter how I went about it, the way their automated system is, it won't let you talk to a live person. And then when I finally did get a live person around 9:15, 9:30, my cell phone dropped the call.
No, no.
So,
And they won't call.
and they
Oh,
won't
no.
call you back. Well, they can't call you back on the landline.
And I'll say, my uncle got Starlink months ago now, and his actually had an issue that he didn't realize he was even having. So it was dropping service a bunch. And they contacted him and said, your Starlink is messed up. We're sending you a new one. So, I mean, the service is very different. You still can't get a live person, I don't think at all, but you can at least get a hold of people. So it's a little different in that.
Tell them you're gonna disconnect. They'll put a live person.
That's
on there
what I
in
think
5
you need to be
minutes.
doing, because
Not CenturyLink.
No,
That's how-
you have to
They're not
message.
there.
That's how I
CenturyLink.
got service.
You have to
The
message
more
them.
people that disconnect here opens up pairs for the other people that need service. And that's the problem. There's not enough equipment in our office to handle our area, or good equipment, and they're not repairing the old pairs that are broken. They don't want to put any money into us. And the last representative that I had, I talked to 4 different reps, got 4 different stories, and ended up with $300 worth of credits by the time it was done. And the guy that came to fix my phone, killed my phone line to fix my internet, and I said, put my phone line back. I didn't get rid of that. And he put it back. And then he told me, as soon as you can, get Starlink. That was CenturyLink.
That's the same guy that said he was getting it as soon as he
His son
retires.
had it, and he said, as soon as I retire, I'm getting it.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay, so back to me.
Okay.
So is that okay that I use the Astra for the camping and the boat permits and that whatever, and the Square, and then you guys can get a report every month. I mean, if Stephanie needs to print it off, she can, because that's where I got that one.
Well,
I'm in favor of that,
Okay.
but I can't.
As am I.
if there's no requirement for you to use the point of sale, then I don't think that it's a big deal.
I think her issue
Okay.
here
There
is
is a
that
requirement.
It's
There
on
is a
some
requirement
We have
in
a
the
Then I have to
contract.
use the Astra.
We have that.
It
in
says I have to
contract.
use
Our contract or
Yes.
Astra's? I'm concerned about
I'm
Astra.
sorry, it's between us and you.
Between
It's the bait house
Okay,
contract.
well, that one still says she's using it for camping, so I mean, I don't have a problem with that.
And we're
have a
still
problem
using
with
the
her not
point of
using
sale.
I don't have a problem.
Astra.
I'm merely
Time,
pointing
please.
out
Right.
that it's in. Okay.
Well, in Astra, I think
Astra's-
told Mary Jane that
We're
most
still
people don't
using
use
the
it
point
for-
of sale
That's what I'm
with
saying.
Astra by
Okay.
doing the boating and the
Okay.
fishing. So if that is part of their contract,
Perfect.
we're still using the POS on that.
I'm great with that.
It's just the in-store sales that we wanna not
Okay,
put
I have
on the
one other
POS.
thing.
Time out, Julie, to keep this legit, since
Okay.
it is in the contract. I move that we waive the clause in the contract that Julie has to use Astra for her personal sales.
I think
We
it
didn't
actually,
say-
It
it doesn't
doesn't
say
say that.
personal
Hold on,
sales,
hold on,
it just
hold on.
says Astra.
One at a time, please.
I think
Well,
it doesn't, I think it actually mentions for camping, so
Do you
I don't
have
think we
that
actually have a
contract?
requirement for
We're getting a
point of sale.
copy of the contract. We're gonna look at it right now.
I don't think it actually says specifically, so I don't think you need to waive it or anything.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was trying to bypass the important one at the
Boy,
table.
man, it's not, I think it's in the first sentence, Todd. I think it's on the front page.
Well, I was looking at whether it could be amended by
It's pretty plain language. so-
all reservation and permits are assessed through Astra Services, no
Yeah.
exception.
So the point of sales isn't even in there,
Right.
so it's not an issue.
Okay, cool.
So we don't need to make a motion. We don't need to make
Excellent.
any changes.
I withdraw my partial motion.
Okay. All right, then, I need a full-size refrigerator. I can hold two dozen worms in that small, it was wonderful. And don't get me wrong, I'm gonna use it, cause I'm gonna put hot dogs and things in it. But when Memorial Day weekend or July 4th weekend comes along, I'm gonna need more than 24 dozen of worms.
Right.
Doesn't.
More than 2 dozen.
She's gonna need more than she can have.
Yes.
Right, more than I can hold in that refrigerator. So I really actually do need a full-size refrigerator. And I don't know,
What else do you need out there to be operational? Really good?
that's really all I kind of need at the moment, isn't it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's really all I need right now. Is I just need that refrigerator because as much as I'd like to put hot dogs in with worms, you can't.
Have you done any research at all on what a refrigerator would cost?
I have not, but Becky bought that one from over there at the grocery store or at the cafe, that little red one. I think she said she got it for a couple $100 from Sam's
200.
Club. Right.
But that's not a full size refrigerator either.
No, but it would be big enough for it would be big enough for what I need. I
It
mean,
would.
it's gonna hold more than
But
2
it's not a
dozen.
full size refrigerator. It's a half size.
Right. It's like the old tiny.
I have an apartment size at home. I can't remember exactly, but it's not quite as tall as I am. It has a freezer and the fridge in there, and you can adjust the shelves. And I think it was only like $235.
Brand new, wasn't it? That was brand new.
That's what I gave her a couple weeks ago. Was
Well,
an
no,
apartment.
No, hers is-
yours is like a
Dorm size.
like that. This one is this tall. It's as tall as me.
Oh, really?
Yes, and it's only about $235.
That was
From
brand new, I
Amazon
think,
or-
too.
No, I got mine at Menards because I was needing it. in a
Sam
rush.
still has those.
Who
Let
does?
me, let me,
Sam's still
Sam's.
has that one.
And he's
specific
Googling
one.
let me Google this.
There you go.
I don't have a problem with it, but I want to add it to our
Inventory.
the inventory list that's floating in space somewhere.
Oh, absolutely.
$300.
I'm too lazy to move it.
I mean, I bought mine.
It's gonna stay right there.
There you go. You want this? Thompson 7.5 cubic foot. It's $300.
Well, there you go.
Give the dimensions on it.
I can't in a second.
Make sure it'll fit in the door.
Has anybody been on Astra or looked it up or
What do you mean?
Specs. These are not specs.
went on there to look at other campsites to see how it works or
I
whatever?
haven't tried that.
It is a nightmare.
It's 55
It
inches
looks
tall
like
by
a lot.
22
There you
inches wide.
That
50
trainee guy,
55
what did he
inches,
tell you?
not
That
quite
9 out of
That'd
10
be
people are just going
my
to come in
shoulders.
because
Yeah.
Four.
Would that be tall
That
enough
would
for
be
you?
absolutely
Oh,
sufficient.
it's in the picture here.
And is it a refrigerator freezer or just
Yeah.
okay,
Yes.
it is both.
You can take a look at that.
No, no,
Hot
it's
dogs
fine.
up top, 'cause you ain't gonna freeze your worms.
But you might, I didn't know if you'd freeze your hot dogs unless you had a bunch of them, then you just rotate them out as they're sold.
That's helpful to have. You can do ice cream, popsicles.
Yeah.
Oh, I do.
There
I
you
have
go.
popsicles already.
Those little cups of ice cream with a wooden spoon.
I do love those.
The next one's up $1,000,
I'll
so
have to
I
get
think
those
that's probably the
from
best option.
$229 ain't bad.
All right, if the
True,
city
then-
buys it, we can buy it tax free, is that correct?
I'll move to purchase the refrigerator for the bake shop.
You better tag $1.
Not to exceed
300.
Not to
$300
exceed $300
plus tax.
325.
Plus
plus
tax.
tax.
I'll second it.
I don't think
Well,
you have to
Under
pay
the
tax.
condition that
Oh,
Take
Julie,
just
tax.
kidding.
I'll second it under the condition that Julie takes an inventory of what's out there and gives us.
Oh, absolutely. I can write it down.
So 325.
That's fine.
I could drive my truck into town and buy it if you find one.
That'd be wonderful.
That was the next question.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't get
already in
it.
town.
I'm
Do you have a Sam's Club membership?
I just
I
do,
don't, so
but
yeah.
I'm not taxed.
But you need to get
City
with her for the city's tax number so that we're not paying tax on it when you get it.
Okay,
That's your cheapest option.
And do you have a credit card that you can take? Okay, there you go.
I think I'm done.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, Julie, thank
We
you.
need all of those.
Oh, we do we not? Okay, repeat
Buy
the,
a refrigerator.
repeat the motion, please.
I'll move to purchase the refrigerator up to $325 for the bake shop.
I'll second. Unless somebody-
Tim did.
No, I'm just kidding.
Any further discussion? Tim, I'm gonna ask a question. You said something about on the condition she gets us an inventory
I
list
don't think I can actually make that condition.
at the
I
same
made the
time.
motion.
You're right. I'm just saying that you might have to make another one to get that. Okay, all in favor of purchasing a refrigerator for the Bait House for not more than $325? Okay, approved 5-0.
Julie, will you please take an inventory of all the equipment out there?
Absolutely. What do you just want?
We want to know what it
What's
is
there?
and a little description of it. Who made it, about how big it is, stuff like that. Maybe even, I guess, take a picture of it. Why not? Is that, I don't know how you're gonna store the information.
You
We'll-
can
we'll
write
just-
it down. I
we
mean, there's
can
just a
always
few
attach it
shelves
to
and-
when it comes into one of our meetings, and we'll have a permanent record that way. Inventory list.
Okay.
Anything that belongs to the city, computers, cameras, the lights, whatever.
Oh,
yeah.
those
We have a monitor.
Speaking of
Hey,
which,
We need to
speaking
buy
of
them a
which,
monitor.
We need a monitor to access our cameras, please.
Yeah.
Annie, can you do your magic again?
I don't
We-
know if Sam's stuff is the best.
I thought Sam or Mike told me that he had a monitor maybe that he could give me, but hasn't.
Mike,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I heard him
He
tell you
said-
that.
Yeah, he did. He said he might have a monitor because I'm thinking that's all that's wrong. Otherwise, I need Chris, the computer guy, to come out.
While she's looking at it, Julie, will you give us an update on the work that was requested at the Bait House that's been accomplished?
Absolutely. I have a light that's been put up that shines over on the boat dock and on my door, so my people don't have to be in the pitch black to get in. They put a piece of something over the window that I had broken in that storage unit. And
Can you hook them up to any monitor? Like a TV monitor?
and I have LED lights on the inside.
You fix them on.
Has Evergy been out to repair the night light out front?
No. I was gonna have Justin, I thought, had put a work order in for that.
Yeah, I just put in the public request from the website, but I mean, it should go to clerks to make a ticket, an actual ticket for it.
Is there any way you can follow up on that?
Yeah, I can.
Would you do that, please? Because it's been at least a month, I think, since we've requested that.
But yes, that's what has been done out there.
What about that dead cottonwood tree?
Still there.
Still there.
And the pines
I've
and the
been
pine
working with
tree.
Mike on various issues, and that's one of them. He has a deadline. He's aware of it.
Yes.
I was thinking there was something else out there, but I can't think of it now.
I brought up to him about,
dock, but it's fixed.
Oh, it's
We
fixed.
walk down.
Yes, and the board.
The public dock, the.
right,
Concrete dock?
No,
no, the long dock,
Oh,
right there
no.
where they put in the.
No,
Well,
I'm
she-
talking about the dock that's on the other side of the beach.
Okay,
When is
that one
getting repaired?
I brought that up to Mike and I took him over and I showed it because that's the one where the flaps are coming up and it's got too much space in between. He said that he put it on his list to work on it. He's also gonna take that rail off from it that's half broke.
Did he give you a time frame? Timeline?
No, he did not. I just brought it up to him and took him over and showed it.
I forgot I had some people were out there the other day working on somebody else's dock. And they have a dock company that are from Council Grove. And so I had them walk around the concrete dock that's out there that all the boards are almost all rotted off of, to ask them if they would give us a bid on that. And then I actually did walk them over to that dock that the floating dock that you guys are talking about. And he said it looked like there was just a couple of hinges gone and they could fix it easy enough. And so if they give me a bid on that,
Present it to us.
that's kind of what I was thinking. But yes, I did talk to them because those boards around that concrete dock are gone. And because, they haven't been fixed or looked at since Bill Ridinger stopped doing docks. So it's been a couple of minutes. But anyway, so I got
Okay.
talked to
We
them
had
about.
talked to, because I had brought that up when you and I were out with the way to measure that. I think
We
it
were
was,
gonna get boards and have them
That was
come up.
last year.
I think it was with Deb,
Yeah.
because I think Deb was there, Deb Ponton. That day.
Maybe.
Anyway, okay, so now
We'll
I'm
talk
really
about
done
much
this time.
issues like this.
Okay, the issue now is the monitor, and you
Um,
think
I-
Brett might have that, right? Or not
Mike.
Brett, I'm sorry, Mike.
Mike may
Mike.
have a monitor. If not, 160 is what I'm finding on Sam's Club. That's a TV monitor. I don't know what you really need. I guess that's right. I don't know how to set those up.
I don't know, and the monitor, if you push the button on it, kind of flicks on and off. So maybe the computer guy just needs to come out and see
It
if,
sounds to me like it's on its way out.
okay.
I got a monitor, it's about 40 years old, and it still works.
Is he talking about you, Marcia?
No,
It's no flat screen anymore.
but I am only about.
Not good for that bake shop.
I move to spend up to $180 to buy another monitor for the security system out there, if Mike does not have one to provide.
I'll second.
We have a motion on the floor to spend up to 100 and repeat that number.
80.
$180 for a monitor. Mike does not have one for the bait house. The security cameras at the bait house. And we also have a seconded by Brett. And any further discussion on the monitor? Those in favor? Approved 5-0. We also gonna look at getting that at
Sam's
Sam's. Okay.
That's probably best.
Tim, can you pick up both those at the same time?
Certainly.
Okay.
We need a cable, but I don't know. Maybe you're
I think there's, yeah, there's, yeah, it's already hooked up.
Right.
Never mind.
It
It's
just
just
won't,
the monitor itself won't
Yeah.
come on.
Do you know if the cable for that monitor is kind of a new one?
Brad looked at it and he messed with it, so
He said the monitor is bad.
yes.
Yes, but I'm talking, you know,
He didn't say anything about the cable.
It's fairly
connection.
new.
Okay.
Okay.
It's fairly new.
It doesn't look old.
Tim's familiar with it, so he's okay
Yeah.
with that. Okay. Anything else, Julie?
No, sir, I'm all done.
Mary Jane? I'm sorry. Mary Jane, anything else?
I don't know if you guys had any questions on that. Otherwise, I'm gone.
Oh, on the this here
Mhm.
spreadsheet. I like that spreadsheet. I appreciate that. And no, I have no questions on it.
See why I keep her around.
Golf clap. Okay, let's move on. Annie Compton, you're up.
Okay, so I got an updated date of arrival for the playground because they had a longer lead time. We're looking at early August to mid-August, and he says he has a supervisor available around that time, so we shouldn't have any delays with that. We'll take care of organizing volunteers and whatnot for installation. Mike and I have been talking to Bob Logan about doing the dirt work, and he marked it all out. And Bob took a look, and from the tallest angle to the lowest, it's 3 foot difference. It is probably one of the steepest parts of the park, which is the downside. However, Bob and Mike talked it over, and he thought he could actually like solve for and like kind of cut into the side to move some of that dirt out, so we don't have to have a retaining wall, which is amazing because that's probably a $10,000 savings that we are looking at. I did ask the stone guy to give me a quote anyway, just in case we wanted to do that, but Bob thought he could do that whole process and haul dirt, give us dirt for about $2,000. He said if he has to write it down, it's going to be higher because he obviously doesn't want to go over his bid if he gives us a formal bid. So we do work with Bob a lot, and I feel comfortable with that. It could go up or down a little bit. It just depends on like how many full hours it actually takes to do the work in the end. But he is equipped to move that much. I did get another quote from a different guy that he just gave me the hourly, and he said the best he had was a 5-ton truck, and he would have a lot of trips, which means more money, more time wasted. And then the third guy, he and I played phone tag, and then I just stopped hearing from him again. So I can still push on that one. But I do feel that Bob solved a problem for us, and I like the bid. So for $2,000, that's a lot of area to fix for us to have that leveled out for the playground. So I guess I'm asking for approval for the $2,000. Obviously, when he finishes, it may change up or down, but that's his best estimate guess at this point in time. I think Bob usually works that way when we work with him. So.
And when you say change up or down, what kind of expense are we possibly talking about if it went up?
I think if it goes up, it's just that he spent more hours on it. So like part of his hourly rate might be added in. So I'm not talking thousands of dollars. I'm talking maybe a couple $100 here or there.
I just want to make sure it don't
Right.
turn out to be a $10,000.
No, and that's not. And he actually, with that solution, is saving us a substantial amount. I haven't got the quote yet for the stone, but to put in a whole stone retaining wall for about 72 feet,
Yeah, that could be.
that
high.
could be pretty bad. So I would rather not spend that money there. But he's thinking that the way they've worked it out, he can level it out and then kind of make a slope instead of
You need more
a
time
sharp
to
wall.
figure out what he's going to need or anything else on that.
No, I don't think so. That covers that. I'm still working on mulch, and we've got a company that's put in because they've got a larger company. She's put in for them to cover our concrete. So we are trying to get concrete donated. And the park should be able to cover the mulch completely. It's about $5,000. Unless you want to trade and we'll do the dirt and you guys can do the mulch. Because I can get that one, very specific if you want. But I think we can still afford the mulch. So that's what I'm getting approval on right now. And I don't think he needs to start the work until closer till we are delivering playground. So probably June, mid-June, late June. So I'll just have to talk to them about when.
Anybody else comments?
You guys have any questions for me? Does that sound good or no? Or
Well, I've done business with him and he gave me the same kind of quote with my building and bringing rock. So, and it turned out to be less than what he first quoted. I don't know. He's fair.
he's trying to be accurate. So I don't think he's underbidding in any way. So.
I'm good with it.
I just need a motion to approve.
I motion that we use Bob Logan for the dirt work.
Second.
You need to put the approximate price down there too. We understand it could fluctuate.
Okay.
For approximately 2,000, was it?
Yeah.
For approximately $2,000
Or as Bill.
or as billed.
Do you want to put a cap on that, like up to 3, up to 4?
Still second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve dirt work with Bob Logan for an amount approximately $2,000 or as billed, not to exceed $3,000. Was that?
I didn't make the motion. She would have to do that. She's the motion. If we don't need to, that's.
I would just leave it. I don't know that.
Just leave it.
Let's just leave it as
I don't think
is.
it's going to be necessary.
So that, to rephrase it, we have a motion to approve dirt work using Bob Logan for approximately $2,000. Or as billed. Or as billed.
I'll keep you honest, Todd.
Didn't you
You have a
second?
second.
Justin
Okay,
seconded.
and we have a second.
No.
Any further discussion? All right, those in favor?
Oh, I don't know if I vote or not, but there you go.
Not unless you're Bob Logan, you can do it.
I think that's all I've actually got for now.
Okay,
I'm working on the rest, so I'm not worried about it.
do we have any purchasing requests or work orders we need to review at this time?
I hope not. All we've done is spend money.
I was gonna say, Julie's spending our
Hey.
money just like this.
I heaved a big sigh of relief with that quote because I thought we were looking at
Yeah.
10,000 plus
That's
for
actually-
this. I was a little
yeah.
stressed.
Stephanie, you're up next with New City Business, New Life Church Cleanup Day. You want to tell us about that, please?
So it's how many people? 100 plus or something like that. People coming on June 25th,
I think it's 125 or
Is it?
something like that. Yeah.
and they're doing a volunteer cleanup day. They're supposed to be coming sometime before then to ask what kind of items people are wanting to have done. They'll do anything like painting, mulching, cleaning up.
Cutting brush and trees.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it just for Eskridge or can you utilize it at the lake?
I believe it's just for Eskridge. I believe. I haven't been asked that question, so I don't know. But I can ask Barry. They are wanting to make it very much a community day, and they want to be set up in the park. And they would like your guys' permission to have some inflatables. Which Mike was in here when Barry came in, and so he said we might be doing a little bit of construction around the park, but they're not going to utilize that area. So they're just looking at having a few things, not like the entire park, but bouncy houses, cotton candy machines, stuff like that. And
Do we need
it's
to move
no
to approve
expense
that,
to
or just-
us. It's just, I just didn't know. I said it's probably
You
safe
need
to
to
bring
have
to the council
liability
since
insurance.
I'm sure they do, but yeah.
Well, I mean.
Through the inflatable.
Yeah, the
company has
inflatable
li-
company should have the
liability
insurance.
insurance. We went through this at Fall Fest.
We just need to not verify, we just need to double check that they're aware of that.
Okay, and then the other thing that they're wanting to do is they want to have a dumpster next to City Hall, very similar to what's out here. It might be a little bit smaller, but they would just like permission to park it over there. And this is all their expense. They're not asking for anything from
No.
the city. They just want
It's all volunteer.
yeah. Your approval. If everyone
I
is
approve.
okay with that.
I only want to say one thing about the dumpster. Has anybody looked at that dumpster since it's been here? Besides me? Anybody?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What?
What are you seeing in there?
Furniture.
Construction material.
Construction material.
What construction material?
Sheet rock. It's full of sheet rock.
Oh, it wasn't when I went. That was.
That's
first
acceptable, is it
Wednesday.
not?
Yeah.
It's not.
The first
It's
day
not-
it was there was a
It's not
gentleman that was
unacceptable.
throwing
Yeah.
axles and stuff in there,
Throwing what?
metal axles and things like that. And I called Mike and told him, and he said he would get in there and fish them out. I mean, there's things that you can take to the junk because iron's up again, but it shouldn't have been when he was doing this. And I didn't recognize him, who it was, but I could see that it looked like an axle from a lawnmower and just the heavy metal stuff. So Mike said he was going to get in there and pull it out.
I had the impression that
Yeah.
dumpster is going to be used for basically household cleanup. Somebody's doing a pretty good remodeling job with all that.
I never looked at it that way. I just looked at it, any type of material that is within the rules of them taking is fair game for anybody to throw in there. Right?
I mean, as long as it's approved material, obviously. I don't think
No
we need
appliances, no hazardous chemicals and waste stuff like that.
No tires. Yeah.
No tires.
it is
Those
obnoxious if
words.
somebody fills it up with a home improvement project, obviously, because then nobody else can use it.
Right, that was kind of my thought on
I was
that.
there like
Well,
a
last
week and a
year it
half
was
in,
filled
and
up
it
with
didn't
big
seem
plastic toys and then you couldn't get anything in the thing. But those people, I mean, we have it there so that they could throw those in there, you know, but they're just hard
Last
to
year people
smash
were dumping it
down.
A lot of
into
people have been
construction.
using it.
Yes, they
Dumpster.
were.
How long
They
is it
filled up 3 down.
Intended to stay.
We decided to have it pulled out. They're charging us by the weight, not by the length
Right.
of time
And
it's here.
like we talked about it and he was just kind of waiting for us to say or till it's full.
Is
I
it,
feel like
is it not
you know,
full yet?
not quite.
I have an ottoman, I
It's
forgot.
getting there. But
Yeah, I
It's
say
getting
keep
there.
it until it's full so that we can get the most.
Right.
If they're not charging us extra time, it's
Right.
just by the weight. Then keep it till we have a full load. It might come in handy with this if it's still here.
no, they're getting
No.
one. They're getting their own.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Who's
Yeah.
getting, the volunteers are getting their
Yeah,
own dumpster?
yeah.
They just want permission to put it here.
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. Yeah, all right,
Yeah.
okay. I thought they were wanting us to provide a dumpster.
No.
Okay, all right.
Nope.
Either way, it's still
Okay.
nice. Well, yeah, we approve.
Cool.
It sounds great.
I'll let Barry know.
I mean, I approve. I guess I shouldn't say we. Sorry. I mean, a blanket statement for everybody.
We approve too. And by we, I mean myself.
So do we need a
Well,
motion?
sayers.
No, the royal we is enough.
Okay. All right. Anything else there, Stephanie?
That's it.
All right.
Next to the garden bed.
Next up is Brett with the fence at Meek's property.
Yes. So I had this put on the agenda because I wanted to talk about it before the concrete bid came up. Of which I had told Deb and Ben that I would talk to them, and I have actually talked to them. And they know that it's being talked about tonight. So the issue is that it's on public access property where it's not supposed to be allowed. Of course, they spent money on that fence, putting it up, and they were directed wrong by us, the city.
They had a permit
And we did, and we
and it was
directed,
passed through the,
and
Not
we
to the
directed
council,
them
not to the
wrong.
council.
We told them the wrong thing to
Say
do,
that again?
and that's what they
No,
did, because that's what we were told them to do. So obviously they don't want to move their fence, and they prefer the sidewalk that's going to be put there that's in this bid to go in front of it. But with the space between the curb and the thing, I mean, we've been down this road with Todd before. It's not feasible. So, yeah, I mean, it's always been of my opinion that the city should correct their obvious mistake at our cost, not theirs.
Weren't they told at the time that this could happen?
I told them 2 years ago after it was happened.
They were told.
Well,
After-
after it was built.
Well, they were told before it was built that it shouldn't be there because of by one councilman sitting in his car.
Okay, well, I mean, here's the, I mean, I understand it that the permit was requested and approved not by this council, right?
It was by the
It's by,
Previous.
public officer,
By the public officer.
it wasn't a public officer.
or it was
It was
the.
Mike.
I believe it was
maintenance-
John Taylor.
Well, wasn't he
That
acting
was
public
Mike.
officer at the time?
I think.
It was just an employee. who
Yes.
approved it.
But yeah,
That's
it
what I
was
mean is it wasn't.
agent of the city. Or
It didn't cut
is that what
well.
you're saying?
Well, he's not an agent of the city. An
Okay.
agent of the city can't bind the city. And besides, it's not technically totally the city's property. Property is held in trust for the people of the city and the public to travel. So, you know, we can go hammer and tongs about this again. If it is within the right of way, it is a nuisance per se. It can be removed at any time. An individual employee of the city cannot bind the city, cannot agree to allow somebody to take and put property on property that belongs to somebody else. And in this case, public property. So arguably, even though a city employee said that they could put it up, we are not stopped to remove it. Legally, let's put the big legally at the end of that sentence. Morally, ethically, whatever you want to put on there, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's a pure legal issue. And
More,
and the fact of the I guess the question being, are you talking about removing it or putting it up in a new spot?
moving it where on
Moving
the
it.
opposite side of the sidewalk.
Between the legal boundaries of the sidewalk and her home.
Right,
To allow for the sidewalk to be installed, which you've been.
Yes.
correct.
Yes.
so it could basically be in the same area, but just maybe move it back a little bit.
Yes.
The fence, jump
How
out the,
far?
Do
Do you know?
Gotta be
I
to the-
think
It's got to be to the right of way line.
Yeah.
because apparently there is 100-foot access to that road because it was platted that way because they were going to make it a double lane road a million gazillion years ago. So it's platted 100 foot. Yes, that's why it is the way that it is. Other places in town are 45 foot, I believe.
They all change. It's on that.
But yes,
Yeah.
and that's all
Basically,
information
the
that they
high-
had
the
looked
highway
up,
width is.
so they know that as well.
Is it
Um,
narrow there?
It doesn't narrow up. The right of way doesn't
No.
narrow up.
No.
So
The road does.
Because it used to be the highway.
so the 100-foot section is one that runs along parallel with Main Street.
Correct.
And what about going east and west at that intersection? How much do we have off of that? Because would we not eventually be putting a sidewalk on that side as well? eventually. Not necessarily this summer or next summer, but maybe
Or
5 years
10
down the
summers
road.
from
It's
now.
like in the two corners of their yard.
I mean,
Because I don't want to.
essentially that side, I don't think, to my knowledge, has ever had a sidewalk warning that way. And
Nope.
in my mind, I just thought that the 1% sales tax for sidewalks would be focused on replacing the ones that are there first, adding a slew of new ones.
Yes, and but
Though
some of the
new
new
ones
ones.
should be added, but
I agree. I agree with what you're saying.
It's sidewalks and.
I understand what you're
And
saying, but I
sidewalks
think it'll
around
be
the
a long
city
time
and then-
before we address that side of the street because we have one right across the street in the park.
Right. Understand.
Yeah.
Anything on the sidewalks until the sidewalks are done.
and curbs, it's
Maybe
also
some-
for curbs and gutters.
Yeah.
That's how I had it written when I
Let's
did it. was
let's
for
hold
park
off on the sidewalks.
sidewalks.
One person talk at a time.
Curbs
Yeah.
and gutters.
Should just clarify.
I'm
So-
just making sure.
And it might not even be 9 foot, it might be 5 foot, because it's probably a couple feet over from where the sidewalk would be, so you need that couple feet plus the 3 foot sidewalk.
Are they gonna
And then you
survey this? Somebody gonna flag it?
Well, there's actually concrete,
Where the
there's a
old-
sidewalk that ran through there, half of it's tore out, so basically, you're just following what is there.
Okay.
At the end of that, all of that front property there on the side there, that concrete is taken out except for the end piece by the curb. That piece is still there, so that's where you know where the concrete used to go. And then the sidewalk is actually still in front of their residence and in front of Paula Solden's residence,
Mhm.
which will be replaced as well.
All right, so my question was, the side street. I realize that this sales tax is for use for this sort of thing, and we're gonna repair the old ones that need it first before we advance to any new ones. And even if it's 20 years from now, do we want to force the owners of that house to move their fence again? That's what I'm saying. What would be the right of way that that fence needs to be behind so that we're not having the same issue 20 years from now, for example? Do you know what that is? 'Cause
I
we're
do
gonna-
not know what the side one is because it wasn't a part of any of this, so no.
I do feel like it's further back, but that's probably my memory, and maybe I'm wrong. On the 4th Street side of the, like, it's not as
Right.
close to the
Right.
curb, so it may not actually need it.
Because I do know, like, on that side, the utility lines are on the inside of the fence. So the utilities that run there are actually in the inside of the fence.
You guys understand where I'm going with this
Yeah.
thought?
Mhm.
Okay. And if you want to deal with it 20 years from now, then that's up to you guys that are still on the council.
But I will
20 years
say,
from now.
what Todd said, I don't like, which is that they have to, in some way, shape, or form, move that fence on their own. at
Oh, we
their
can make a
cost.
deal with them. I think as a council, we should work together with our constituents to resolve issues and concerns just to the benefit of everybody. And this would be definitely work with them. Yeah, we're not bound to what an employee had told them about putting that fence up. We're not bound to that, but we can be compassionate enough to move the fence ourselves so we can get this work done properly. You disagree, Tim?
Greatly.
Well, voice your opinion, please.
When the city guys are down there putting flags up, telling them where they can put that fence, I pulled up in my car and told them that there was an easement. And I pointed at this and at this. Their house sits approximately here with their sidewalk. I don't know if they have a sidewalk, actually. This is the existing sidewalk. It kind of drifts away somewhere, almost where their fence ends. And I said that their fence needs to be on this side of this existing sidewalk. And their argument was, there's no sidewalk there. I don't care if there's no sidewalk. I kept pointing out there's an easement. It needs to be on that side of the easement. I was told, show me where it says that. If you can't show me where it says that, we're building it where we want it. So they built it where they want it.
Because you couldn't show them where the easement was.
Because I didn't have any paperwork to show
So
it.
it had to be done at that moment. Show me at this very moment.
I
where-
had no paperwork, and I called the city clerk and asked her to look for it, and she said she couldn't find anything. I said they should have it at Alma because I've had it produced from Alma before. She couldn't find it.
How old that image was?
But to be fair, and I'm not saying that you're making any of this up, I'm just saying that it was outside of a council meeting. We don't really know exactly what was said, and that instance? So they could come back in and say that you never said that to them as
They
well.
came into a council meeting and we had the same argument. I'm sorry if I interrupted you.
No, and I was at that one, so I remember
Okay.
that as well. But so I get that, but they did. They put the fence in, and it really wasn't an issue in council until somebody else pointed it out, and then they were starting to go on the defensive because of an unrelated thing, which I'm not going to go into because it's complicated. But so then they came back in then to actually talk to council and argue that they had approval and they put the fence in. And I 100% get what you're saying. But at the same time, they did get the approval to put the fence in, and
With the understanding that,
well, in council or outside of council.
well, we got the approval at the same time in council.
When they put it in,
council.
they never got it in council.
After the fact.
It was after, and it was already installed then.
And I remember us
I do.
directing Mike and the other employees or somewhat like that to figure out where that line was. And in their figuring or whatever, they approved. I'm not saying that you didn't have that conversation.
Well, they
Right.
just
At all.
use like a standard
just-
setback from a standard road, which I mean.
I guess that's,
I don't
that's
know
what
what
they
it-
use.
I guess I don't know exactly how they got there.
I can't remember if it was Mike or John Taylor that signed off on that. I think it was John Taylor. It's irrelevant, but just if Mike
I
was here,
think
we
they
could
didn't
ask him.
realize that it changed on that road because the roads do change depending on what it was.
They were using the 45 instead of
Yeah.
100.
Okay, and that's kind of what I was thinking is the one that's along 4th Street, I feel like it's further back and there actually is space for a sidewalk
Yeah.
there. So
The
They're all
fence- the
different.
I always
fence is
thought that was
further back.
weird.
And
because
I think
it
that was
was
the
that one
problem
supposed.
too, is like nobody realized that that was platted double lane and they had all this
Mhm.
other stuff. Not even them. I mean, they had to learn that
Yeah,
themselves too.
so
So
it was erroneous.
Who has the right of way at, who has the ability to abandon the idea that there will be a double lane there at some point in time? Is that the city? Is that
Well, I
the
don't
state
think,
of Kansas? Is
well,
that,
absent it being, I mean, I'm gonna guess that they didn't, this isn't a real state highway. Cause that's, the difference is,
Well,
if they,
it was at one time. It
Yeah.
was
If it was a state highway, what usually happens is the state buys the fee. It's not a right of way. It's owned by the state in fee, as opposed to platted. If it was just platted back in 1920 or 1910, then it's platted out and the city just has a right of way. And then you could vacate the road or parts of the road and make it narrower if you wanted to. But, okay, but that's the key question first is, did the state buy it? Which the county record would show that they bought it through that process. Or is it just platted? So it could be either way. I
If
don't
it's
know.
platted, it's basically city ownership or city, it's
No.
the city's to
No.
give up if we so chose.
No.
Okay. Well, all right.
There, you can vacate, that's what I said, you can vacate it.
Yeah.
You have, it's vested with the public interest. So you're not it's not like you could sell it. You don't sell it, you determine that it should be vacated because it's not being used
Yeah.
or whatever the purpose behind it be. It's up to you, but technically that's really what you're doing. You're saying, we're changing the plat map and we're giving it to the adjoining landowners.
Or even retaining it and just allowing them some kind of a license or agreement
Well,
to maintain a structure where it is or
But
whatever.
you don't
but-
have the authority to do that. because
Okay.
You don't own, the public has the right to travel. On the
Okay.
full length of the right of way.
Okay.
What kind of expense are we talking about if the city boys move that fence 4 or 5 feet that it needed to be moved? Time, any idea?
No. I do know that they have those poles set in concrete, concrete.
No.
Do we need to move it or just open up the end so the sidewalk goes through?
I mean, I think we'd probably talk to them about that. I don't know that they would want it open.
No.
They don't want it open. Is that what you're saying?
No. They prefer it in the front, and then I think they're waiting on our decision. I mean, I offered him to come to the meeting, and honestly, the last time, I mean, I think they've said their opinion, and what they said hasn't changed, so they don't.
Apparently ours has.
Mine has never changed. I wanted the city to remove it the last time at the city's expense. That's what I said the last time.
Remove it or move
I
it to a
want us
different
to
location.
remove it,
Remove it, totally remove their
Yes.
fence.
and move it back
That's
to
what I
where it's
asked.
supposed to be.
Yeah, just want to clarify what your meaning is there.
Correct.
I personally think it needs to be put on their property between the sidewalk and their house on their side. The sidewalk should be on the outside of their fence. That's what I think should happen. That's my thought. Now, who moves the fence is the issue. I agree with Todd. The right of way to the public to access that is there. And I don't think the Meeks can stop that from happening. Anybody else? Comments? Anybody? I don't care. Jerry?
I don't have any opinion.
Okay.
I have an opinion. I don't think that we should open, but Tim suggested, wouldn't probably work for one of them because of his, service to our country. He wouldn't be able to, be comfortable with people walking on the inside of the fence, easy access. So if you're gonna do it, move it into it and then have a gate or something that he can lock.
It doesn't run all the way to his property.
No, it's open anyway.
It's open-ended anyway on his
Yeah.
side of the house.
It was to stop people from coming from the park over to their yard, which they were having issues with.
Yes.
They were coming up to their porch and sitting on their porch.
Doing what on their porch?
Sitting on the porch.
Sitting on the
Sitting on the porch, okay.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and sitting in the yard on the
And just
curb.
making themselves at home and,
Looking at their flowers.
Wow.
and he has PTSD. It's
And
kind of
also-
hard for him to deal with.
And also I have a
And it's
question
their
about, I
land.
thought we were gonna use that for the park first, and then when we got the sidewalks done at the park, then we were gonna start building, working on city.
Well, the idea was to have the north and south side of the park completely finished, but as the city and park board, we do not have that creek ditch filled in to be,
The
explain it better, Amy.
4th Street side of the park, I will say, is probably a larger project because we do have to cover in part of that stream. I can never remember the name for the big metal things that go in your ditch.
Culverts.
So install culverts and then obviously cover it with dirt and then do sidewalk in a place that's not had sidewalk ever before. So I do think it's going to be a larger budget item, and I know Brett's been trying to kind of work on repair on Main Street areas as well, because obviously we've talked about it. Broken pieces of the sidewalk are important as well, the curbs. So we're trying to do both at the same time, which means because that's a larger project, it's getting
Well,
kicked
then
up.
I'm gonna talk to you about the danger that we have at this, in front of the senior center with the curbing and the curbing.
That is in the
And
bid.
it's in the bid. We just
30
haven't
whole
got
feet
to the
of
actual
brand new
bid yet.
curbing.
Yeah,
30
it's-
feet of brand.
We
new
are
curbing.
putting another sidewalk in the park, or that's what's on this bid. Sorry, I shouldn't say we were.
Let's get back on the,
That's
get back
why,
on the meat
that's in the
fence,
bid.
please.
Yeah.
Okay, so, thank you.
Let's get back on the meat fence.
Okay. I think ethically we should, but that's my opinion. It was a really big mess. It probably doesn't have any right answer, but I do feel like we told him, yes, do it. Or at least an agent of the city or the, however you want to say it, because at the time it was all kind of different and
I wouldn't call him an agent.
I'm sorry,
An
and
employee of the
legal
city who didn't have
terms.
the authority to do what he did.
Did he not though? I mean, wasn't he
He
doing that
didn't.
job?
He didn't,
Oh, he didn't. Okay.
absolutely did not.
Do we require fences to get approval now in council? I can't remember.
It depends.
I was gonna say, cause I know
They're
Brent didn't
not
come in, but I got permission.
You don't need building permits to put a fence up.
Need a
You
building
do,
permit.
but it can be marked off. It says in the code book, correct me if I'm wrong, that the designated officer can mark off on those permits and approve them themselves.
Yeah, I think the disconnect comes is that you guys don't do your own zoning. You parcel that out to the county. Usually all that stuff is the county, because a zoning.
That's created problems. That was a bad mistake for us to do, to give the county our zoning, because then they have.
Did the
control
county
of it.
come out and give the approval for that fence, the zoning, the county
No.
zoning? They did not. So they didn't have approval to put the fence in.
But to be fair, I have a fence in my yard that I didn't get county approval on, but we did get it approved.
I don't
We
move
marked it
any
up.
fences that get county.
I don't either.
So it's not
They
standard
may not
procedure.
require- What I'm saying is that's usually the method if you have your zoning officer and all that stuff, is that's all building like that is approved through.
And we did not have a public officer
Yeah.
at that time, which
Yes.
is why one of the employees was the ones that signed off on that.
No,
I'm sure we didn't have John Taylor at the public.
Well, and
safety
that's what he's
officer
saying. He
for a
wasn't
while.
sure if it was
That's what I
John
thought.
Taylor.
I
I
wasn't
mean, he was the
sure.
public safety officer for
Right.
a while, but
But he was
I'm like,
also
Marcia,
the
I can't
employee,
remember.
and that those lines are blurred. I can't remember.
okay.
I've heard for years that the city had an ordinance on fences and they could not exceed 6 feet in height. Is that true or not? Who knows?
Yes, it is.
It is
60.
true,
I
and we
remember
have-
that from these
we-
council meetings.
so we do
because
have an
somebody
ordinance.
tried to put in.
So in order us to follow that one, somebody that wants to put a fence in has to get permission from somebody.
Yeah.
Because we have a limit on it.
From my understanding, the public officer can approve those.
Yeah, and I think the
So
idea
like
has
Sally
been
right now
is
can
that
approve
people
fences.
have been basically using the forms you have, at least I've seen, for the dock structures to do the same permit process for the fence.
Well, they're
Now,
similar,
whether,
yeah.
yeah,
They
but
say
whether
city, but
everybody
yeah.
does it before they build the fence is obviously quite. Because anybody can build anything, and probably if you don't have a police officer, you don't have a public officer roaming around, that nobody knows it, unless the neighbor does.
And depending on the council and or the public officer at the time, sometimes people go out and pre-inspect. Sometimes they don't, which causes issues like the one that I'm in. But, and that was brought up during this also. So almost every case is a case by case basis. We tried to stay within the rules.
Right, I understand. But if we have an ordinance that requires that a fence cannot be more than 6 feet in height, then we have to have some kind of process in place to make sure that somebody who's putting in a fence is not exceeding that. Otherwise, they just put a 10-foot privacy fence up there and then say, come after me.
Well, and I'm pretty sure that Mike and the other employees are aware of that, and Sally is. I'm pretty sure she's aware of that too, because we have caught that before with an 8-foot privacy fence when it's supposed to be 6 foot. So I think everybody's aware of it.
Sally goes by the ordinances.
Mhm.
And we all should be going by the ordinances. So let me ask you this, Brett, what's the time frame for when this concrete work is being scheduled to be done?
The same time as last year, which would have been mid-June to the first week of July. That's kind of the time frame. This bid has been redone twice. This is the third bid from him because I was confused at some of the bidding, so we had to redo it. But
I'm confused and looking at this too, so you might have to explain.
well, what I printed off for you, there's 2 pages that's the concrete about that goes with the Meeks Fence property. This other was just a mock bid I had him do for us, so that we would get an idea of what it would cost to do a bunch of the water drains.
So which 2 are the Meek property?
So it would be the one that obviously says park, and then curb and gutter repair at senior center. The one that says street drain is not included in the bid that I'm talking about tonight. This
Okay.
is just so that we would know what it would cost to do a half a dozen water drains around town that need to be repaired.
Okay. So there's $31,000 listed here on this bid,
$31,055
Right.
is the total bid
right?
for the
And
park.
How much money do we have budgeted for that right now?
We had 33,000 the last time I asked you, or 29,000.
Do we have, like, are you asking how much money is in the city sales tax?
Right.
43,773.
All right, so Is this the same person that did the park?
This is the same
Last year.
Okay.
contractor.
Alright.
I did
I really
because
like
of
the one at the
you
park. That's the reason I wanted to know that.
wanting 3 bids. I did have 2 other bids from people, this guy from Alta Vista and then another local person, but both have withdrawn their bids. Both were higher than this, but they both withdrawn their bids because they can't get to it this year.
Okay, I can accept that. At least you took the effort to go find the others to start with.
And he's gonna,
I would prefer this one just because he's started the work with us with the 1% sales tax for the sidewalks, and he did a really great job, and he worked really well with our employees, with Mike.
Now, I also know that the sidewalks at the park are wider than normal.
yes.
And how about this new construction that's going in? Is it the same width or is it a
It
normal
says it
size
all on
sidewalk?
there.
All exterior sidewalks in the park will be the same width. Which
I'm
I
talking
believe-
about in front of Meek's house.
It will be
no.
the standard size sidewalk. It will not be that extra wide sidewalk.
Okay, all right.
What's standard? 3 foot or 4?
3.
3.
Really?
About 4
Thought
foot.
it was.
That was 4, and then we did 6 at the park, but I don't know.
Is that what they're, are they 6 foot wide at the park?
They're 6 foot. They were supposed to be 10 foot, but they made me drop it.
Yeah.
I know that sounds amazing, but now there's a mow strip around that tennis court because it should have gone all the way to the tennis court.
10 foot would have
You might be
invited
right,
the
Dustin.
4-wheelers to turn
Well,
around.
4-wheelers are driving in it anyway, so at least they'd stay on the sidewalk.
My sidewalk.
Huh?
4 foot is
It's
what
city
used
hall.
to be in the park. I know because I
Yeah.
measured that because they were 4 foot. by
Yeah,
I thought 4
4
foot was
foot.
standard though. Is that not?
Okay, so
Okay.
it'll be standard size, not the extra width of the.
And to clarify, they've picture framed the ones in the park, which looks nicer. So it has that clean edge and then they brush the top. So he'll be doing that again. But the other sidewalks will probably just be the standard like cut sidewalk. So just so you know. Nobody wants, or I guess nobody should expect that match everywhere around town because that's a little
No,
bit
he
more
did
time
that
consuming.
extra step
Yeah.
so that the park would
All right,
look really nice.
So what are you guys' suggestions on notifying the Meeks that this work is gonna be expected to be done between mid-June and mid-July?
Well, when I
And
spoke
what
to
are-
them, I hope they're watching tonight because I encouraged them to watch. So they should be abreast right now, but we do need to make a decision so that then they can make a decision.
Have you gone back to look at the minutes of the last meeting when we discussed that fence? Shouldn't we do that?
Which time? Oh, we discussed it several times. I mean, I went back and I'm reading a couple letters from Larry at League of Kansas Municipalities, but that's actually a email from Deanne that basically condensed what Larry has told her. But Larry said it's basically a council decision. Since we gave them the permit to build the fence, we can allow them or tell them to take it down, which is the same thing Todd's saying. It can be allowed with a stipulation that if we ever put it in the sidewalk, the owner moves at their expense, or if the city needs access for some reason.
That's what
I don't think that's anything that's really changed versus what we're discussing.
sounds like it.
Does to me too.
Oh, I mean,
It sounds greatly different.
it says that we don't have to allow it. It says that we can, well, it doesn't say
It says that we can
be-
force them to move it at their expense.
Yeah, it says we can do that. But it was also mentioned being a good neighbor and working with them. So that's kind of in the camp I tend to be on, but that's because of how it all played out originally.
Now, I don't remember the name of these jacks that people can hook a chain to and jack those posts right out of the ground. What's that called?
Handyman?
Is that what it is? A handyman jack?
Puller, or if it's post puller or whatever.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, question is,
That'd work even better.
yeah, they said it in concrete, or how did they?
Yeah, those
do
are,
the
the
footings?
the ones that they have at their house, we're assuming they're set in concrete.
They are set in
So it
concrete.
takes a front end loader to lift it up or a handyman jack to lift it up, but it wouldn't take that much time to have it pulled out of the ground and the fence adjusted to where they need to go. Now, the question then becomes, do we do the fence work before or after the concrete? I mean, the fence would come the sidewalk.
If there's work to be done there, then it needs to be done prior
That's what I would think.
to that.
Because if they're gonna use any heavy equipment like a loader,
Mhm,
we don't want them driving over a new sidewalk.
right, or tearing up everybody's yards and things. I understand it, yeah. Just want to get the details down.
I have a question, Brett. Did they tell you that they weren't gonna do a lawsuit then? Cause when Deb talked to me, she talked about getting a lawyer. And I asked her to make considerations, think about it. And so did she tell you they were or they weren't gonna do that?
What's the date?
I never got it definitive.
People are gonna do what they wanna do anyway. We can't control that.
This is
Yeah.
If they go that route, it probably changed the whole perspective of what the city council will agree to do.
Everybody decided.
But they might be a little more willing,
I would think it would be the minutes that would matter.
We offer it.
Yeah.
yeah, if it was the city.
This
Doing
has
the
been a really sticky thing from the get-go. That's why I said from the beginning I wanted it to be removed at our cost. We had this argument and discussions, then personal feelings got in.
This is the meeting.
I could have been to remove it completely then. Now things have cooled off, it's settled down. So I'm back to my original stance, which was to move it at our cost. And to make it run as smoothly and painlessly for everybody involved as possible.
So today being May 9th, we have approximately 4 to 5 weeks before construction's to begin. I think we need to notify the Meeks that what's gonna take place. And that this is
Well,
our proposal.
I wouldn't give them a time frame yet because if we approve this next, then I will get a more exact date of when he will be here,
And how long will that take to get that?
like a day or two.
Okay, so
I
if we,
called him tonight, but the guy got set at 8
if
o'clock.
we were to approve the sidewalks going in at that $31,000 cost tonight, then you'll know by Wednesday for sure when they're gonna start and when they're gonna start, let's put it that way.
How much does it cost? $31,000 to do the fence?
No, to do the
Sidewalk.
do the
No,
sidewalk,
do
put the entire
sidewalks.
sidewalk in. Here's the,
Didn't we vote on that?
What's the date?
here's the two, here's the two. Yeah, I noticed you didn't get a copy of that. One's 29,500 and the other one's 1,500. And those two would be done at the same time, and it would stretch from the city park, not the city park itself, but that side of the street, be on the north side of 4th Street, all the way up to the Senior Citizen Center, right? Is that what I'm
Sidewalk?
understanding?
No.
No,
The sidewalk just goes to the end of the street there. The other work in front of the Senior Citizen will be done at the same time. That's what
same
I'm
time,
saying.
but that's just 30 feet of curb and guttering.
Yeah, I understand, but all that work would be contracted at the same time, is what I'm saying.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm getting at.
Mhm.
And it's, like I said, it's 29,555 for one of them, 1,500 for the other one, in front of the Senior Citizens.
Reading minutes, going back in history, trying to figure this out.
Did you already explain that bit?
So do we know how much it's gonna cost to move it?
Did you explain it already?
Depends on how they address it. If we move it, then the cost is on us to move the fence. If they move it, it becomes a homeowner's responsibility to move it.
Well, I mean, I thought maybe that was something that the concrete people weren't gonna be
No, the concrete people are not
part of it.
bidding to do the fence removal or replacement or adjusting, whatever. Are you finding out anything, Justin?
How much do you want me to read? There was a lot on this.
Yeah.
This is the third set of meeting minutes I've already read, and I'm gonna have to read another one because it's going to
It's been,
the
it
next
was at least
meeting.
2 meetings that we had.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's-
And
I should have made one really long because I had a long statement I read, if I remember
It
right.
said it's.
You had one, but it said insert here, so I think I have all the version of the minutes before that.
so are
Yeah.
these meetings you're reading, are they being progressive in order?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So everyone, I'm going.
From
I went
the
from that-
oldest one to the
Yeah.
next one? Okay.
Yeah, I went from that League of Kansas Municipalities meeting to the next meeting, because it just continued.
Can you give us a brief instead of reading it all? I mean, you've already read it once,
You're on the
but
spot now.
Well, the thing is,
Yeah.
you gotta scan through the whole thing just to find
The
the
highlights.
highlights.
Yeah.
And then try to read.
Uh, let me try to read fast, if that's okay.
Would it be all right if we talk about the concrete bid and come back to
Is
it?
it okay if we
on
keep
the
talking to
outside?
you while you're doing it?
Can we talk to you while
Too
you
many
read?
balls in the air.
That was the point he was making.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Go ahead. That's,
All right,
that's
let's,
fine.
I agree with Annie. Let's go ahead and discuss the contract bid first, and then while Justin's looking at that, he can brief us afterwards.
So the bid is for the park sidewalks, kiosks, city sidewalks, and handicap ramps, and then the addition of the curb and gutter repair of 30 feet in front of the senior center. So it'll be the entire south side of the park, running east and west. There will be 6 foot, and then there will be from the back 6 foot sidewalk that's already on the park, which would be the east side. There will be a path to that, from that to the memorial, so that people can get to the memorial, and that will go to the bridge, not very far, but just kind of a little bit, because we need room to replace that bridge, and
Can you
we don't
search
know
it?
exactly where it's gonna be or anything like that.
Is that sidewalk gonna connect to the back sidewalk?
This one?
Because it goes over the creek bed right
I'll
there.
make it to that side.
Sorry, is the one they're adding, which runs from Main to Pine on Fifth Street side, will it connect to
No.
the Pine Street one? Cause there is a,
It comes off
Okay.
about 5 feet into the road that you have to then go around that 5 feet to get to the other handicap ramp of the sidewalk. And that is due to the water drainage and the creek that you would have to go over that will require a lot.
yeah, and it's the end, so I'm a little worried about trying to close it off. If that makes sense, I guess. We already have an issue with,
It floods. It's
yeah,
very cut
it
up in
floods,
there.
but like with the bridges catching stuff underneath and clogging up, so.
But yeah, so it goes pretty much
Okay.
all but the last 5 foot, and then you have to go around just because that creek and drainage is there.
When you say go around, are you saying they have to go into the street,
Absolutely.
circle around, and then get back? So there would be curbing that would allow a wheelchair to go off.
Yes, there will be
On both
handicap
ends.
ramps there because that is included in this
Okay.
bid too,
That's
Yeah.
what the ramps are.
the handicap ramp there.
Okay,
And then there'll be one,
I just wanted to clarify that.
yeah. Does anybody have any questions?
What's the kiosk?
That's
sidewalk?
just it's like 8 feet that pieces that to the kiosk from the piece that we did before,
Okay,
not 8 feet,
is it going into the middle? No, sorry,
It goes-
just kidding.
to the kiosk.
And to note, the sub-base material is provided by the city of Eskridge in this bid.
Correct. Which is the exact same thing as last year, that wasn't put in the bid. If everybody remembers right, it wasn't actually in the bid, but he had talked about it. And we had that stuff, I don't know if we still have that piled down at City Lot or not, but yeah. Because his bid will, any of their bids will be more higher if they have to haul that in with dump trucks.
So I can't read what it says under the sub.
Sub-base material
Sub-base
provided by
material.
city of Eskridge and any hard, what does that say? Haul off, excuse me, haul off as necessary.
So there shouldn't be a ton of haul off, because there's no sidewalks where sidewalks are going in, except for the piece that's in front of Paula and the Meeks.
Okay.
Right.
It's on here.
Oh, and I guess the cutting out of the curbs. To haul that off.
Do you know if there is sidewalk in front of the Meeks or is it removed
There is sidewalk in front of the Meeks.
under the dirt there?
No, above,
Really?
in front of their house.
There's not a lot.
And there might even,
Just a piece. Did you have that picture? It showed it.
What's that?
Were you?
I thought there was a
Yeah.
An aerial picture?
Yeah, but it's old.
I
I
so
wouldn't be
it's not-
surprised.
Oh, the one I just had on my phone?
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if there's still sidewalk under their
The dirt.
dirt and grass that's growing.
Yeah,
That
mine's
happens a
starting to
lot.
sink underneath.
But yeah, the sidewalk in front of the house there, about the length of the house, is still there at their house.
And it's exposed though, right?
It's exposed,
Okay, I'm
yes.
saying, I'm
And
I'm
then
agreeing
there's
with Ken,
piece
there's a
that shoots up to
possibility
their
that there is
bus
a sidewalk
Here's Meeks.
under the
Yeah, so
See
dirt
there's
and
the
grass
sidewalk.
that's out there.
Paula has some. I haven't shown it very well.
And it'll go all the way over.
That looks like
this,
that's
right?
right at Paula's doorstep.
Yeah,
almost.
that tree is shading that piece that's there.
Oh, okay.
It's
I just thought
there.
it was going.
Yeah, it is really close to her house.
Is that payday clear out here?
Yes.
Okay. Or structure? Or?
No.
Okay.
This is their grassy knoll,
Oh, okay.
and then this is the old parking lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I thought there was grass there on
Or the old
the other side.
car lot.
Yeah.
Not parking lot.
It's a parking lot then.
Okay, he's right. Okay.
He was wrong.
But I think two.
They used
So next year when we get
Interest in that, there's,
Yeah, I've got the
there's,
aerial.
there's the, okay.
See, I'm guessing your sidewalk from here down to here.
I think the
Do you
coalition.
have any interest, Terry?
No, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
I'm not certain about that, but I want to say that Sandy Williams and her husband had that tore out and they reseeded every grass because it was just pieces of chunks.
Okay.
And they did like to mow.
They did like to mow.
on this side,
Yes.
or over here.
This
Oh, that one's all still.
This
Okay,
there's
the
piece
concrete, let's go
left.
back to the contract on the concrete guys. Let's move on with this.
Please.
Anyway, so the total is $31,055. Which is close to 9,000 less than last year, I think.
Yeah, we took away because we had 2 sidewalks in the park that were 6 foot,
Right.
and then the kiosk, and then the repairs.
And like I said, we would have loved to have done the north side of that as well, but that drainage ditch is going to be an issue that has to be solved before that.
And I think we'll have the budget for that next year, and then we'll have all 4.
There you go. All right. So here, motion.
I move to approve debaters bid
For 31,000.
for $31,055 with us providing the sub base material and hauling off any extra debris. And they also, all the extra dirt, they'll smooth out and make it level and whatever else. We will have to seed it, of course.
I have a motion on the floor to approve the debater bid of $31,055.
Second.
And we have a second. Any further discussion? Those in favor? Approved 5-0.
I do briefly want to talk about the other bid that I had him do, which was, I guess it was 5 water drains for the street, and not 6 like I thought it was. But I just wanted to get an estimate of what that was going to cost us to try to do it, and it's $2,250 per water drain. So if we were to do 5 water drains, that's like $11,250.
And where are the locations where these need to be?
I didn't, when I had him this, I drove around with him and there's way more than 5. So I didn't pinpoint any specific 5. I just told him to give me a quote for like 5 so that we know what we were working with and to break it down per. That makes sense. The only one that I really showed him was the one at the very top of Lake Hill that has stone around it that's like collapsing in. But there's several others around town as well. If you drive up Lake Hill, you can look at a lot of them and they're not in great shape.
So is that like a complete redo as far as like stuff that's below grade and,
Well, they will. What do you mean by that?
well, I mean, is it there? I don't know. I mean, it drains into something. I mean, obviously the sewer, but is there like a vault or anything that drains into?
Well, yeah, the
down
water
there?
drain goes down and then it's in, what is it, a concrete tunnel that then flushes it all the way down.
Okay.
They replaced a water drain for us last year with the concrete work that they did, which is at the very front corner of the park. So if you wanted to look at that, and there's one directly across the street that was old. So you'd have a direct comparison right there of a new versus old. He said the cappings might be a little different on some of them. It just depends on can't remember what he said. It depends on something, but they'll all look pretty much similar and cost the same. And he'll make it level to the street as far as like filling it in there so that there's not like broken pieces out from the asphalt. And
So are there any
all of
5
that.
particular areas that you've got in mind that need it more than anything else?
Lake Hill, going up Lake Hill, those water drains are pretty bad. There's also the next street over as well. The other
And
one,
by fixing those water drains, are we preventing flooding somewhere in the city? Because the water's not is the water bypassing
a lot
the
of
drains
them are,
now?
the one up by Lake Hill is collapsing in and it's completely clogged with debris. So not a lot of stuff is even able to be getting in there, probably to be washing away.
Goes on down the hill
Right.
somewhere.
It goes on down the hill because it's slanted on down to the next water drain or whatever else.
All right, so,
But this was just so that we would get kind of an estimate or whatever. Like I had no intention of passing this bid or anything. And I told him that when he did it for me, I just wanted us to have the information for future.
this is one of those projects that can go on our 5-year plan, for example.
Absolutely, it could. I didn't have him put it in the 1% sales tax either. It most definitely could be included if
But
we.
that's part of
if it
streets and
was-
alleys, I would think.
If it was
That's what
voted
that
to do so,
1% 's
but
for.
also, don't we have like a wastewater drainage account fund or whatever that I,
Sewer fund.
yeah. So I didn't know if maybe
How much money's in the sewer?
combine the two could partner. I don't know. Like I said, I
But
didn't,
this debater also doing the drainage, right?
correct.
Okay.
$152,959.
You could
Which
probably
we
build a wall
were
at the lake with that. couldn't you?
working that up for the sewer project. That
If we were
No
allowed
idea
to
the
build the wall at Lake with
process
that,
of
then let's get it done.
I don't think we
Texas and
are.
Transfer, right, John?
Which,
Um,
that would bring another question up anyway
Except the
that I
main
would
thing
have
is
about that.
We better wait until we have that project.
Yeah, the project probably completed.
Yeah.
Or
Because I know some of the intent with the sewer fund was raising the rate because they were gonna look at that for the grants. And they were gonna
Yes.
say, if you didn't have the rates raised, they were gonna, point their finger and say, why don't you have your rates high enough? But that, you should be building up your own capital to do so.
Yeah.
So,
That's the most important
fast forward to
stuff.
today, we've raised our sewer rates as they advised us, for that. We're at that rate. We did not get CDBG funds, but yet I think USDA is kind of the same thing. They're gonna be supplying, I think, the final note, and KDHE is doing some interim funding. But anyway, we're still collecting that overage, that's a little, more than what we actually spend on our sewer fund today.
The idea behind that though is to get enough money that you can show that you can service the debt to USDA and
Yep.
or the state.
and it's
Yeah.
actually
And keep the bond covenants.
we're at the state
Yeah.
minimum too, I believe. It's
Yeah.
either right there, maybe just above, but we weren't quite at the state minimum for
minimum
what
of
they, the average, I don't know that number. I just remember
Okay.
sitting in a
There's probably a range
conference
across the
and
different cities. This is the high and this is the low that people are being
I think
charged.
it was a minimum in order to qualify for those.
maybe it
grants,
was.
I think it was, I don't know.
We can have a motion, right? Do we vote?
You have a motion and a second, and yeah, you voted.
Oh, just kidding. That's how great my memory is lately, guys.
If you want, I can try to text him
We
now.
don't need the budget.
If he happens to still be up, he can give me a more definite thing if you want me to.
Quickly glancing for it,
Yeah,
but it's-
Yeah, I found
that's
the-
okay.
I found the really awkward meeting where
It-
it's 2-2 one way, and then 2-2 the other way, and then nothing happened. Because
That was
neither
just awkward
motion
because of
passed.
some other reason.
All of them are, but some of them
Yeah.
are more awkward than others.
Yeah. I was wearing a grass skirt the whole time.
Yeah.
Killed.
I want
Please,
to
Todd,
briefly ask Tim a question. And it's not on the agenda, if that's okay with you guys.
Yes, I want a wall up the lake.
And I understand that we have $90,000 in the lake fund. And the money that we generate for the lake is spent at the lake, is that correct? So why haven't we approved the wall before and have it built? We've got money to cover
We
it.
approved a ramp repair, I thought, or what was the thing that we did last
We
year?
approved the wall,
Oh, the wall.
correct?
Yes.
However, it was not,
We
like at
didn't
that
have enough
time,
money.
Coldy,
No, we approved too many things at once, and
We
then we went
approved
back.
two walls at the lake. The one that over by the boat dock,
correct,
between the boat dock and the big dock. We approved that to be repaired. That was, I think, 20 or 30K
Was it done?
Mm,
negative.
No,
Okay.
And we approved the other one for 40 some. And then somebody pointed out that we approved more than our budget authority. So we redacted this one and left the small project, which never even got completed. I was under the impression that Coldy was given the go ahead. Well, Coldy told me just, I don't know, maybe a month ago, nobody ever got back with him and told him to go ahead and do it. So he didn't do it.
no, they never did.
So his bid is probably old and not
I'm sure.
viable anymore.
And it's probably a
I'm sure.
All right, let's get another bid from him, please, because we've got money to cover that. That one, is that more important than the wall, the other wall that you're wanting
I
done
think the
around the,
swimming area.
the swimming
is more
area?
urgent to me.
Where's your priority, Tim?
That's
Don't you
my
think?
opinion.
The beach
Now,
wall is
wasn't the
more,
other one kind of a safety issue though? And that's,
But it was cheaper, and I think that's why we went with it. But I think that some
And
beach is
the
bigger.
safety.
yeah.
I don't know how much of an issue it is.
I'm gonna ask you to take it upon yourself to determine which is the most priority thing at the lake wall that needs to be done and get us a bid for it. Can
Well,
you do
let's go
that?
back to my artistic work here. Because there's another option that was brought up to me, which I had, oddly enough, I had two different people suggest this very same thing to me within just like a week. But where the bait house is, so there's the bait house, here's the beach. Extend this out, you know, where the trees are about right here. Here's our little dock
Right.
that needs repaired. And then this goes on and curves back this direction.
Mhm.
People were talking about moving the beach over to here and then getting those big concrete blocks that have the handle in the middle that look like big Lego blocks and putting those right around here to stop all the erosion from washing all this away, because that's going to happen whether this is our beach or not. And then moving our beach over to this side, leveling that out because it's a little steep climb right there. Having Logan come in and dig the big rocks off on that side. You know where I am?
Moving the beach to which side?
Okay, this is where the existing beach is, and there's the shade
Yeah.
trees everybody likes. Moving the beach around on the other side of this dock over to this cove, where you won't get all that erosion from the water coming or the other. This is the main current of the lake. I'm presenting this idea. I'm not sure that I'm sold on it, but
It's interesting.
It's on the side of the bait shop. I don't know. if
that's a
Yeah.
problem. I don't like that idea.
I don't.
Not only is it out of sight, but it's harder for the kids to run over. Hey, mommy, I want some chips or whatever.
Or
You know?
use the bathroom. Because now it's on.
Well, I might
well,
be
the
closer to the
bathroom is
bathroom.
actually, yeah, over there.
Might be closer.
Cause the
guess it's-
bathroom is in the,
Yeah, the bathrooms are
Clear
clear
over.
over here.
yeah,
It might be closer to the bathrooms.
I don't know.
It won't be much farther if it is farther.
Okay.
But it is a very valid point that it will be farther from Bait House. And the other option that I was thinking is maybe we can use those blocks as the wall. I don't like that.
Okay.
I don't like that
Well, I don't
either.
like this option either.
How cheap,
I
how
don't-
cheap
But I'm
are the
presenting.
blocks compared to somebody actually coming in and pouring them? Because if you can get the blocks for cheap enough and then you could put a facade
them.
over that, yeah. I don't know.
And what kid wouldn't like to play on the blocks anyway?
Tim, I have to
Well,
tell you,
rough cut.
Coldy was told about that we accepted his bid.
I thought that he was also.
Yeah, I think he might have.
That is
forgotten,
correct.
He was told.
He told me that he wasn't. I'm just
But
passing on what I was
JD
told.
was the one that had came out and actually gave the bids, which would be his, what do you call him? I'm having a brain fart.
like a foreman.
Yeah, or the one that
Scheduler.
does the bidding. Or anyway, yeah, because they had said that they were going to. What the weather is why they didn't get to that.
They wanted low water.
Yeah.
And that's what I was gonna also point out. to
I'd say with this weather, we might have that year.
Yeah,
It's gonna
I
stick
remember that
around.
too, but yeah.
That's what I thought. They were just waiting for low water, and then we just never had anything happen. So
That's
it
what I-
definitely should have been checked
Is
on.
he
but
unaware of that? it's something different? Did
He
something
says
change?
nobody told him.
You weren't in here. He told me, because I talked to him at the lodge maybe a month ago. And he said he put in the bid and nobody ever got back with him and told him to go ahead. That's what he told me.
Yeah, no, no.
Okay, so
And
everybody's
he
on-
may have not been told personally, but I never
Well,
really
that's
talked
all.
with him a lot. I don't remember about that because JD is the one that.
Well, that's all a moot point now because it's all behind us. What I need to know from everybody else's idea or thinking, do you want to go back with the wall just like we had before, with a couple breaks in it that had stairs that go down to the water, backfill this with something, and then put sand on top of it for the play area? I don't think we need to well, I don't know what's cheapest. Whether it's all sand or whether it's backfilled with dirt and then put sand on top,
I'm for replacing the wall the way that it was.
the way that it was.
And not
Well,
moving the bait house. I am
with
in
nicer
favor of that as
stairs.
well.
I was gonna say, we're not exactly like.
Yeah.
You don't want to take
nicer
business away
stairs.
from the bait house.
Nicer
Yeah.
stairs. I thought they had suggested like, well, that's probably a lot more concrete. Never mind.
So with that idea, was it clear up here along, because I mean, you're past these trees here.
Where we were talking is going the other direction. Here's the bait house, putting putting the blocks from here towards this direction
Yeah.
to hold down the erosion, is taking this away,
Yeah.
but then moving the beach over to this area.
Oh, okay. I got you. Over there.
And see, if you look distance to the bathroom, I think
Yeah.
it might be a little bit farther.
Yeah.
All right.
If it
Would
is
you,
not much,
Okay.
Would you object to getting a bid for that?
I will try to.
For what?
The wall.
The replacing the wall the way it was.
Well, I would prefer to call, I'm gonna call JD and ask him, because they gave us this bid, we talked to them, we approved this bid. So I should have done that already, and I will do it again, because there's no use bidding it out again.
But isn't he the lake rep right now?
Let him have it. He was the one contacting them before.
Okay.
And no, I'm not.
Have you been removed?
I haven't been,
Reappointed? You haven't been reappointed?
no, sir.
Guess I gotta look into all that a little bit now, don't I? Okay, all right, Brett, look into that then for the moment. Tim's giving you his.
I'll have an answer for you by the next lake meeting in 2 weeks.
That'd be
I
fine.
was curious, how old was the wall before it came up? Is it-
Original.
All right.
Original,
It was
what, as
original.
old as the lake?
Yeah. I don't think originally when it was built, the wall was there. It was built 20 years after.
Wow.
All right, well, let's move
Yeah.
on. Let's move on. We'll get that looked at and talked about at the next meeting. In 2 weeks. I don't want to say because we have that amount of money set aside in our budget for that, that we spend that amount of money, okay? Don't get that impression.
Right.
We've been talking about building that wall.
And that's why I was curious, if the lake funds money is supposed to be spent at the lake, how much do we have and why aren't we spending it for the improvement of the
Thanks
lake?
for bringing it up.
Part of it's been,
I will stop personally at Colby.
part of it has been saved up for the road expansion.
Well, we
Well,
take
we
that
have
out.
that
We
set
take that off the
aside.
top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, so we
And
have
that-
a lake reserve that already has.
They won't let me touch that, Jerry.
Did we this thing or not?
Yes. Yes, we did. The only thing we've resolved is that we've accepted the bid. And then the next step was to find out when the construction would start.
Okay.
And then we discuss it with the Meeks.
All
Of
right.
course, if the Meeks are watching tonight, they're aware that this is coming on.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
All right, next thing, employee evaluations. The last meeting we had, I told everybody that I had all 4 of the employee evaluations in my possession. However, 2 of them were not complete. And I asked the supervisor to get those 2 completed and turn them in, and they have not yet done that. So with that in mind, I'm not going to discuss employee evaluations tonight. That's something else that will come up. And I also want to ask if that's something that shouldn't come out in a special meeting or work session to discuss specifically that. Do you agree? Everybody agree to that?
Can we just do it at the end of a regular meeting? Preferably not
Instead
a
of
late
adding
meeting.
another.
That's what I was
You're,
thinking.
you're gonna add a little bit of time because these aren't gonna go easy.
I'd rather come in once a week than once every other week, and once a week.
What would you want to be here till 10 o'clock?
I mean,
I'm fine with
my
that
night,
one.
I don't know, and I know other people probably feel differently than me. Once my night's committed, it's committed. So if I commit multiple nights, that's more. I don't know.
I don't know the
I'm fine
urgency.
with running a meeting longer for it.
That's you guys' call. I don't care either.
I
Well, we
don't
need
know
to
the
receive 'em
urgency
first,
to it,
right?
but our next meeting is the lake meeting. So do you want to wait another month?
It's fine with me. I don't have a problem with that.
We can always schedule a special meeting at the next meeting. It doesn't have to.
Well, that's
He
what
was
he's
talking
trying to
about not
avoid,
doing.
trying to avoid a special meeting. For example, next Monday, for example, he's trying to avoid scheduling
Just,
something
well,
like that.
adding it after.
Oh yeah.
I really personally think it's gonna take 2 hours at least.
For evaluation.
Just for the
There's a lot of issues that this council or this city hasn't taken care of in the last 20 years. And I'm seeing it. You guys are gonna be quite surprised at what I'm seeing. So it's up to you. I don't care. But at the moment, we're gonna table this until the next city meeting. Is that right? And see if I can't get the
I'll move to
evaluation.
table it till the next city meeting.
So we have 1 month. So that would be June 13th. No, wait a minute.
Yep.
We're still in March.
The next city meeting,
Oh,
no,
no.
this is May.
Yeah. The next,
City meeting's June 13th. Today is
Correct.
May 9th. So the next city meeting's June 13th.
Wow. Yeah.
That's a month from now.
the next, because he's saying
Oh,
like
gotcha.
is the next meeting, which would be
The
on.
next non-lake meeting.
Yeah.
Pure city.
Yeah.
Can we not just do it? I mean, since can we not just talk about it next meeting? I mean, it doesn't have to be all lake stuff, right? Or am I?
No, it doesn't have to be all lake
It's
stuff.
just the
It's just
lake.
that the meeting is usually so full of lake stuff.
I see what you're
Especially
saying.
during lake
But we don't
season.
even have them back yet. So like we can confirm that we've received them next meeting and then schedule
Well,
or not schedule.
I will say something to Mike over the next day or two, and basically ask him why I haven't got him back, because I asked him to do something for me on those.
Yeah, because we can't schedule anything we don't have.
No, and I'm not about to offer raises for somebody who doesn't have a completed evaluation in it we can look at and discuss.
So I think just next meeting, not next city meeting, because hopefully we'll have them by then and we can make a decision on how we're gonna discuss them. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
You can always table it further if it. If
Right.
it
we can
does.
table it to the next meeting,
Yeah.
to the lake meeting.
Okay.
Okay, Stephanie, if you'll do that for the next meeting.
I remove my motion then
As
and
you
make
should.
a new motion to the next meeting, which is the 23rd.
Okay, we have a motion to table the employee evaluations to the 23rd of May meeting. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Michelle. Any further discussion on that? In favor? Okay,
Will we get those?
copies?
Yes, will we get that before the meeting so we can? review and-
If I get them before the meeting, sure, I'll get them to you. I'll send an email out to everybody and tell them that it's available, and you can come to City Hall and pick it up. How's that sound? And please acknowledge me if you get a meeting, if you get an email from me, that way I know you've got it, okay?
Okay.
And if you don't hear anything by this Friday, say, hey, what's up? If nothing else, I'll get an email confirmation that proves that you received my emails, or I've got your address correct. Let's put it that way, okay? Everybody has my address, right?
I don't think.
I got your number.
Yeah, I know you do.
You get way too many.
Mayor at EstridgeKansas.org is the easiest way to email me, okay? All right, let's move on. EPA Brownfield, I think that's Justin's topic, right?
Well, and I wish I would have had more prepared. That I kind of wanted to just make sure the ball didn't get dropped as far as applying for something and what that looked like as far as I think we wanted I think we had a consensus anyway as far as the old IGA building being on the list. Have we had any interest from the public as
Yes.
far as?
Steph and
The
I talked
senior
about that a little
center
today.
is interested. Eskridge Market is interested, correct, Dolly?
Yes.
Fosters are interested. I still need to contact the WAS.
The Buffalo Inn's been interested from the beginning as
In the
well.
library
There you go. And I need to contact the owner of the library.
and senior citizen center, right?
They are interested.
What about Teresa? Not Foster. They
Fosters are, oh,
have the other building by the senior center.
I don't have a good contact for them, but
I could probably connect
Teresa
you.
who?
She was a Foster. I can't off the top of my head.
is it?
She's Benji Foster's daughter.
Yeah.
Teresa,
Okay,
I don't know,
all right,
or something.
I guess
No,
we
I
can
didn't
not
binge
Center
it,
building.
but
What
yeah.
about like
Huh?
John Law
She's got those
or
ones.
I need
Foster.
to
Mona
contact
Market?
Furman
Law.
still owns
They
them?
should.
Did you say Mona?
They should.
No,
You'd
I
still
need
be
to
interested.
contact
If Bones interested in buying.
Or
it.
Cheryl, I guess.
They
is the
should.
owner.
Cheryl
Dolly
owns the
said.
building.
What about the Furman's?
Do the
beauty
Furmans
shop?
even know about it?
Yes,
wonder.
they've been told.
They need to get involved, their roof is leaking and they have water on the floor and I'm starting to get mold from my neighbor.
That building was in great shape.
That's
I
a
know
different
how that
building.
goes.
Are we not, we're not talking about the same building, but you've
Yeah,
got
I
a
know.
point.
Talking about
I
the
was
old
talking about
soda
the old
place.
drugstore.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
Furman building.
Yeah, I know it is, but we're talking about the one across the street where the beauty shop was.
Oh, well,
Down next
well,
to
they have
Bones.
two then.
Yeah.
That's,
Still
that's,
have
what-
that one.
but that's what we were discussing at the moment, but yeah, get hold of the Furmans and ask them about both of them.
Because
And
they were taught to, because who was that telling me that they talked to them about the schools? Because they were really big about the schools
Me.
and
I even had a buyer for them and they wouldn't do it. Last year.
anyway, but I agree, I don't want to drop the ball and miss an opportunity. either.
Yeah,
Right.
it just seems like these guys are, I mean, sitting there in that meeting was so strange. I mean, it seemed like they were flushed with cash and have no idea what to do with it as far as, it's like basically help us spend all of our
One
money.
time
It's
only.
like,
Said
Yeah,
by
never come around
government
again.
agencies.
They were gonna get the coffee cup.
No,
it seems like the oddest
I
thing, I
still
mean,
have
for
it.
EPA, I mean, but.
Yeah.
Uh,
All right, so yeah, we haven't dropped the ball on that to answer your question.
Yeah, and I'm not accusing anybody.
No,
of
no,
doing
I,
that, by the
no,
way,
but it still
that's-
needs to be, we
Yeah.
don't want it on the back burner. The next thing you know, we're totally out of the loop.
Yeah,
We
they,
want to keep on top of it.
yeah, and they had an email in here with an attachment that talked about this K-State tab, and I think people were kind of interested in that. That was, like an extension outreach, except it's not technically that, but, I think there was even talk that maybe they could do a survey, lower moderate income for a CDBG grant. And that's something that maybe they would be able to tackle for us, but anyway, I just asked to be put on the agenda for that reason. There's this information that came out. I didn't know if anybody read it or had an opinion about it, and then I'm actually surprised to hear the amount of people that are interested in this. And that's a good
Yeah.
thing. So,
I'm glad to hear that number of people too. I still think we can get some more interest. We can get a buyer for the blue buildings. I know the blue buildings, I know we'd have more interest too.
yeah.
Did you say the lumberyard? Are they interested?
I don't know. Actually,
We never talked about it.
I haven't.
Okay, I'll talk to them, because that one building won't be.
Yeah.
Talking about the storage building next door. Yeah.
I will talk to them at the next, board meeting, which will be next week.
All right. Done, Justin?
Yes.
Okay, let's move on. We never completed the issue of the rope swing. The last meeting that we had talked about that. And so we're going to continue that. I was asked to go talk to Diane, our insurance person. I asked her if she would come to the meeting. She said she would not be available to come to the meeting. So I asked her to provide me a letter of where the insurance company stands on this issue. I have 6 copies here. If you'll take one and pass it around to include Todd at the tail end.
Same as always.
I want the city council members to start reading it while you're waiting on your copy.
I might be able to cut this conversation short.
Okay.
The guy who hung up the rope swing that's up there right now,
Mhm.
I've been in contact with him and he agreed, he wanted to be here tonight. He's a lineman. He got called down to Albuquerque unexpectedly. So he's doing some training thing down there. That's where they send their linemen. Anyway, he is willing to go up there and cut it down, not hang it up again, with the hopes of being able to maintain having the tree there. And I said, I think that would probably be agreeable. But of course, I can't speak for everybody,
So he's willing to remove the tree and the ladder that leads up to it.
not the tree.
But,
Oh.
but leave remove the rope.
Remove the
and-
rope.
And the ladder leading up to it.
I didn't mention the ladder, but I don't know why that would be included as well.
Yeah,
I
it
think that
needs to
ladder's
be,
been there
otherwise
much
people are
longer,
gonna,
But
Sure.
irrelevant.
if the ladder stays, people are gonna climb up there and they're gonna use the tree to jump in the water from at that point.
Well, they might do that with any tree around the lake anyway. Anyway, he's willing to take it down and not put it back up if we'll save the tree.
And what do we do if somebody else decides to put the rope up? Same thing, take it down, cross that bridge when it happens,
That's what I was thinking. I don't see many people
willing to climb.
willing to climb up there and do that. As I said, he's climbing.
Well,
He's different gear.
I like that proposal only because it would take an outside contractor to cut the tree down anyway because of the danger involved in getting it cut down and pulled out of the lake. And then we could have somebody that's licensed and has their own liability insurance that's cutting it down. We certainly don't want to put our employees in danger of cutting that tree down. You saw the pictures the last time we were here. It definitely, and I was out there again today. Definitely leaning. You've seen it.
Yes.
It's
I've been
definitely
out
leaning,
there.
and I don't think that the city has the ability to cut the tree down with the equipment we have. We don't have a bucket truck, as I call it, do we? I don't think we have one where they can get in a bucket and go up there and cut a limb down and have it swung back over to the shoreline and not fall in the water. But anyway, so Tim's suggestion is that we go that route first and make sure it doesn't go back up. All right, we can't make sure it won't go back up, but if it goes up, then we have another decision to make when that happens.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and leave the tree there as long as the ladder's removed, the rope is removed. If somebody else puts a rope up in there again, the tree goes.
I'll second. But who is it that is cutting it down? Who is it that's doing this?
Denver Purvis, the one who put the rope swing up there to begin with.
The most recent one.
Because I mean, yeah, he would have been
He said he would
11
even.
or
I'm
younger when
not.
the first one was
Oh
up there.
no!
So,
Before he was born,
so I mean,
Yeah,
I think he said that he would even cut down the branch that the rope swing is hanging from.
Well, if the rope swing comes down, it wouldn't necessarily need to have the branch cut down either at that point, but I'm not opposed to that either.
I'm very much in favor of maintaining the only tree that's right in that area.
There's actually one next to it. It's a little bit smaller, but there's
I
one
don't
there.
want to.
I appreciate that, Tim,
The
because
tree.
I didn't want the tree cut down myself.
Are you seconding
can
your
I ask a
motion?
question?
Not to cut the tree down.
Yes,
That's
you
what a
did.
motion is.
What?
You said
If another
if,
one
To
goes up.
leave it
yes,
for now.
and your motion
For
was,
now.
and if another rope goes up, then we cut it down.
Not discuss it, just cut it down.
Take it down by what date?
I can't.
Hang
He's
on
not
just a second,
here.
everybody. I think there's some confusion on what the motion was. The motion was to allow this individual to remove the rope and to remove the ladder, the step ladders that's been attached to the tree. And if the rope is replaced, then we cut down the tree. That was what the motion was. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we can't say that the motion is not to cut the tree down.
Correct. We are giving them a chance here. I don't want to cut the tree down, so I'm not going to be for cutting the tree down immediately without trying to save the tree and give it a chance.
Okay, now further.
That's what this is doing.
And
Yes.
further discussion, the further discussion that Tim brought up was, and I don't think everybody heard that. If they did, I apologize. But he said that he was willing to even cut that limb down that rope is attached to. And I think that would prevent another rope from going up.
If Michelle's willing to modify that to cut the limb down, I'll second that one as well. I'll second either one.
that's fine, but what are we gonna do if people put another one up?
Well,
There's
the
really
limits
no
go up.
other
There's
limb
no other
that'll
limbs?
swing out a rope swing to have it work functionally. I mean,
Yeah, I
that
was-
is the perfect limb.
Because that was my thought too, when I was out there looking at the day. If we just cut the limb down, what else is there to attach? There is a tree growing beside that. If you guys still have the pictures from last time, you'll see that other tree. It's not even 5 feet away from it, maybe 6, I don't know. But it's a smaller tree. It's a matter of time before that one grows to the point where a limb might be viable for somebody to attach a rope to it and swing off of it. If you cut the limb down where the rope on the tree that currently is standing, the next limb that's even halfway feasible is quite a distance higher than what this one is. I think it's possible that they could tie a rope to that one, but it certainly wouldn't be very feasible for them to do that and be able to swing off of it and possibly get hurt. And just so we can clarify something, guys, I want to clarify what Diane is telling me here on this letter.
Do you want to modify and add cutting the branch off?
Yeah, they can cut the branch off.
Alright.
It's still gonna tear, you're still gonna remove the tree if somebody puts something in there.
But I still feel that the tree should go if they continue to put up more ropes.
And I think cutting that limb will significantly decrease the chances of
And
that happening.
then it'll be a moot point,
Yes,
won't
it
it, if
will.
it
That's
doesn't
true.
happen again? But I just want a contingency that if somebody
Put your rope up.
does put another rope up there, then that's it.
Then take the whole tree down, don't take off that part also?
I understand. I
Half of the
understand.
tree is better than no tree at all.
I have a
Yes,
question.
yes.
What about the kids that are not even using the rope swing? What about the kids that are climbing the tree itself and just jumping out? Because that is happening too.
It's a tree.
So it's a tree and they're climbing it and they're climbing as high up as they can get above that rope
So
swing.
do you think they'll,
With any branch that they have and they're jumping in from there because it's a bigger thrill. It's
so
higher.
if we remove the rope and we remove the ladder that leads up that tree, are they going to attach more ladders to get up there to climb off it? Because I don't see how they can climb that tree without the ladders.
Well, not to be rude, but to quote my dad, just because your breath smells like you know what doesn't mean you're Tarzan. Any kid can climb any tree that they want, with or without anything. And that's what my dad
Okay.
told your oldest son. At a
Go ahead
party
and say
that
it.
didn't
Go
want
ahead
a
and say the
broken leg.
quote. Go ahead and say the quote that your dad said. We're adults, we
Smells
can
like
take it.
ape.
Your
Doesn't
breath
mean
smells
you're
like
Tarzan.
ape what?
I'm not saying it. Poop.
Okay, doesn't mean you're
That's
Tarzan.
not the word he used. The point is, kids are kids. They do things. They're agile little devils.
You're right. Kids are kids. We cut down that tree, they'll find another.
Yeah, but we're not liable for a
But
tree.
we're not liable for those. Mine's
And-
climbing
and
mine in
that-
my yard.
that was-
Mine's taken.
That's my final point.
How
And
not?
what's that?
How are we not
Is
liable for
they
the
climb
other?
it. I have,
What?
I have responsibility for the trees in my yard and my grandson climbs it. He falls out, breaks an arm.
Yep.
But it's
Did I
not
miss
the
something?
city's responsibility to
It's
take
city-
care of that.
no, it's
Out
the
there we
city's-
could be.
Cities not.
So we
not
should cut down every
liable
tree. I mean,
for
it's a weird,
natural-
illogical.
It is crazy.
Natural
But
occurrences, natural trees, people climbing trees, the recreational area does not create liability for the city.
If we get a windstorm when that tree has leaves on it, like the 2 we just had, this will probably be a moot point because it'll probably be in the lake on its own.
Yeah.
That's how much
I mean,
it's
we can
needed.
guess at what's gonna happen all day long. The issue is that this has been added and it's increasing risk that we could be liable for. Whereas a tree is a tree is a tree. I mean, they're gonna climb any tree. It doesn't matter where it is.
So you're not liable for it.
Exactly.
I didn't read the letter to say
God
that you
put
were.
the tree there.
But I want to say one thing about what Diane told me today when I went and picked up the letter. She said, our insurance would cover for each, where does it say, each occurrence, $1 million. Now that sounds like an easy peasy, no brainer that we can cover that. However, the problem is if somebody, say a 12-year-old kid falls out of that swing, on the swing, and breaks his back and becomes a paraplegic,
That-
and they sue the city, and the city loses in the lawsuit, the insurance company will pay up to $1 million. But if we're found liable for that child's care for the rest of his life, you're talking possibly millions of dollars.
But that's just it. The Kansas Tort Claims Act limits even legitimate claims, city liability to $500,000. You're not liable. Even if you were liable, even if you got past the exception of recreational exception, the second phase is the insurance, which covers $1 million more than you need. The max limits now are $500,000. KTA.
Then why did you say last week that they had a really good lawyer they could win?
Well,
That's what scares me when I'm sitting out here in the audience,
You
because
say-
I don't understand.
I'm saying could as it was a possibility.
Yeah.
Well, I
you
mean,
never
it's-
know what the judge is.
So what
gonna
I'm
be.
saying is the good lawyer, yes, if you get past the restriction, say it's not for recreational use, because we use the lake. I'm not giving any ideas out here, guys. The lake is used for water, therefore it's actually it's a utility. Then the $500,000 limit, they have to get around that, and the insurance limits are the $1 million. Yeah, maybe I could think of the possibility, but it's damn difficult and unlikely.
However, it's a possibility. So the question is, do we put the city at risk by allowing everything to stay? That's where it boils down to. So if we lose a lawsuit, insurance pays $1 million, and then we pay $500,000 max on a tort claim after that.
The half insured, so we pay zero. You pay your deductible.
And who do we pay that insurance to?
You pay it to the EMC.
To who?
I guess isn't the EMC?
That's the insurance company, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And we're paying a premium to them. So the liability is not $1 million, it's $1,500,000. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that the limits are $500,000, and that they cover you for $1 million because they're overdoing it, they're overcooking it. And they're also giving a limitation that people will agree to so that they can get a settlement, right? Part of that is to set your number. So, I mean, can I sit here and say there's absolutely no chance you guys are going to get sued ever, or you'll never pay out a dime? No, but these are high hurdles.
What was that motion again?
Can't you like pay this and it's like they're not liable for it? Doesn't it work that way?
We have that over at the swim beach. We have none of that over there at that area. It's not posted anywhere, not responsible for accidents in that area. And I thank you for bringing that up to me, because I was going to request that we do get a sign over there that says
Excellent
not
idea.
responsible for accidents, swim at your own risk. The same thing that we have over in the swimming beach area. Because if you come to the lake and you go directly to that area, you're not reading any of those signs because it's not posted anywhere.
We're gonna put one on each dock and on the slide. that goes
Oh,
down
no,
into
just
the
put the
water.
sign up and let's move on with this. I do have to go to bed at some point tonight.
Okay.
Just for the record, too, I want to read this. KSA 75-6105, subsection A, subject to the provisions of this other statute and amendments thereto, the liability for claims within the scope of this act shall not exceed $500,000 for any number of claims arising out of a single occurrence or accident.
It set the amount, you said 500,000?
500,000.
And who's going to pay the increase in the insurance fees?
Diane said if we do get sued over something like this, since we were notified by the insurance company 2 years ago to remove it and we failed to act, that our premiums would definitely go up.
So you can put it in the letter.
Okay, she's not coming down here to talk. You know, I'm not gonna tell you why she don't want to come down here and talk to everybody. I think you can probably figure that out.
Yes.
But I believe her. I believe everything she told me today and what she's told me in the past when I've talked to her. I'm just trying to make you guys aware that we have to take some action so we can prevent putting the city at risk. That's all I'm asking to do. If we want to remove the rope swing, remove the ladder and cut that limb down, I'm all for that. I think if it gets replaced, it's probably something we need to discuss. I don't think we just automatically cut it down because somebody threw it up there.
Thank you.
That's just my thought.
Of course.
You know, nobody wants the shoreline to be,
Make it.
yes.
I would be in favor of
Yeah.
removing the rope, the branch it's hanging from, in hopes that nobody puts up another one. If somebody does, we whittle the tree some more. I don't want to just cut the tree down as the second
Okay,
reaction.
And remove the ladder as well.
so we have a motion, right? Did we get a
We have a
second?
motion and a second.
We need to deal
No,
with the motion.
we need to
issue.
deal with the first motion first. If we want to adjust it, then she made the motion. Do we get a second on her motion?
Yes.
Do you want to, we did?
Call
Yes, you
vote.
did.
My next motion will be what I just stated. If it comes to that.
All right, so we've got a motion to remove the rope, remove the ladder and cut the limb down.
Mm-hmm.
And if another rope swing is put up, cut the entire tree down. And we have a seconded by Brett, I think. Any further discussion on that motion? So those in favor of that motion and those opposed to that motion. Do you have a hand up?
Oh, abstaining.
So it's 2-2 and an abstain, and one abstain.
It's in your court.
Then I will go.
There's
no
no abstention.
No.
That's not right.
Abstention is an automatic yes.
For the motion.
Not a
It's for the
resolution.
motion.
For the motion.
You just, yeah, I think
Motion
that's
dies
right.
for lack of
Okay, I
majority.
think it
No.
is 2.
No, it's 3-2.
If you abstain, it's 3-2.
Now, you said before that's the same as it.
As a,
I think so. I think that's right. I gotta look at the code.
We're gonna vote.
I think you're correct, Tom.
You already voted. I don't know if you got the code of Kansas City's or not.
I move that we change the ruling. Can we do that?
You can't.
Why not?
But
But I can
yeah.
vote.
There's a misunderstanding of the rulings. That's why you went
But
to
you can,
abstain.
you can move to cancel the last directive of the city council and replace it with your preferred result. I don't think that's
I move
No,
to
let's let-
replace or cancel and replace. And if this dies, I will be done with it. I move that we cut down the limb that has the rope hanging from it, take off the ladder leading up to the tree, and if another rope shows up, then we deal with that if it means cutting on the tree some more. But we discuss it at
Case by
that
case.
point,
Yes.
not just simply
Okay.
cut the tree down.
We can't honor that motion until he gets the answer to the previous one, because we have to.
What
make
was
the
your motion,
to
Michelle?
pull.
That was to cut it down? That,
If the rope swing is replaced.
okay. Oh, okay.
It was to remove the stairs, cut the limb down, and remove the rope swing. And if anything comes back, then
It's
then that's
automatically
that.
cut down.
Automatically cut the tree down.
Okay. That's the part I didn't like. That.
So you're abstaining because you didn't want to say yes or no.
Yeah,
And-
I'm on. I
And,
just don't have a dog in this fight. I really don't.
well, you're a city council member. You do have a dog in the fight.
Yeah, I suppose so.
But is he a bulldog or is he a wiener dog? What kind of dog is he? So I guess that, we need to find out what the answer is on your abstaining that vote before we can move on. If it's in our, if it's in the
In the
favor.
meantime, we need to address the lawns that are getting out of control because it's mowing season.
Okay,
Keep going on that.
I've got a few more. So, we need somebody to be, paying attention to some lawns that are getting out of control, because some of them are with not only tall grass, but accumulation of,
is that one of Sally's duties?
Yes.
It is, okay.
She should put a goat on it.
They don't always act as a mower because I got 2 goats and I was just thrilled to death that they were gonna mow my yard for me. No. They eat all my flowers.
As
They
long
like
as they
weeds.
eat the weeds
like
first,
that.
and
Yeah,
then they'll
weeds and then
eventually
the
get
flowers.
to the
Poison ivy.
grass.
Weeds,
Yeah.
flowers, then grass.
Another issue. Most of you probably know about a certain burglary that took place here Friday. And I've been trying to figure out who was driving that truck. I also had somebody report to me that that truck was seen at Lake Wabunsee hauling the riprap that we put at the East Bridge, loading it into the bed of their truck and hauling it away.
The riff raft.
The rock that we
Riprap.
put down,
That's what you call the rock that we can
Called
mine.
riff raft.
riprap.
Rip.
R.A.P.
Rip wrap. Okay.
They were loading up the rock that's over there by the
So
East
that you
Bridge,
basically
throwing it in the
get
bed of their
wrong
truck and
rock.
hauling it away.
Oh my.
And somebody that lives at the lake drove by and saw them and thought, they shouldn't be doing that. And end of story.
And we have no idea where they went with it. So we don't know who these people are or where they live.
Now somebody knows, they're just not talking.
All right, Tim, the Deputy Eric, if we could get he took the license plate number of the guy that robbed me and took it in to Topeka to one of those agencies, and they enhanced the license plate and they were able, and we've got a lot of cameras around here other than just ours. And he asked, so it hasn't been turned in?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well,
They've gotten footage from, I think, 2, if not 3 different businesses.
So, and so that's how they caught the guy that robbed my place. He was from Harrington, but anyway, it's a fun story, I'll tell you someday. But he took that license plate number and they enhanced it, and that's how they caught him.
Good. I'm
So
glad to hear
hopefully-
that. Glad to hear they caught him.
Yeah.
I'd hate to think it was somebody local that was doing
It
it.
was out, he was from Harrington, and he had a good job up there at Jeffries, but on his way back, he would drive through different towns and burglarize them. And they arrested him and
His second job.
for some kind of infraction, put him in jail for a minute or 2, got a warrant, put a GPS on his phone,
Okay.
and followed him.
I'll get with Sally and get her working on the lawns around town.
It's not
as
just
well.
lawns too, it's like yards that have lots of stuff going
I
in.
did
think
notice that
we
there's a
have,
yard on the street I walk by all the time, and they have a big dumpster there now, so evidently the person that lives there has moved out and the owners of the rental must be gonna be cleaning up. It's right, just on the street where you used to live, Tim, 2 houses from you. Next to Jackie.
Oh, really?
Between Jackie and
the
Summers.
Hughes house,
In the house
Yeah,
I
the
used to
Hughes- yeah,
live
the
in.
Hughes. They got a big dumpster, cause I went
Where
down to let the
Daryl
dog out
and Toby
today,
used to
and
live.
there's a dumpster there.
Finally.
Yeah.
They had told
People
me
have
to
been
look
And there's
at
a
it.
for a while.
There's a new fenced in area on the house that Tracy used to live in.
Mm-hmm.
the coffin house, Gerald Coffin's
Now
house.
you got an answer for us yet.
I do-
Yes.
I do have a ruling, I think.
That was an old name.
All right,
Just
just
one more thing here.
Todd
He's
has
100
Todd
years
has the
old.
ruling on the motion.
Okay.
That's good. My stalls are done.
All right, the ruling, you guys have adopted this wonderful code of procedure for Kansas City's. And it says an abstention shall be counted with the prevailing side. So the prevailing, doesn't say with the motion. It said with the prevailing side. So you had 2-2, there is no prevailing side. Unless the mayor breaks the tie, and then the vote would go with the prevailing side of the tiebreaker.
But you said I didn't have a vote in this issue a while ago. So do I or do I not?
What you do when there's
Break a tie.
when a non-ordinance,
Well,
the mayor may cast a tie-breaking vote when the council is equally divided on a vote on a non-ordinance matter.
Huh.
So
Right now, Justin's in space.
Justin's gonna make it
Yes.
4-2, no matter which way
Yeah.
Terry goes.
right, exactly.
yeah, so the,
I'm going to say no. So it's 4-2 against the motion as read.
Then I'll make a new motion because my other one was very lengthy and confusing. I move that we allow Denver Purvis to remove the ladder, the rope swing, the branch holding the rope swing, and should another rope swing appear, we will address that when necessary.
And reserve the right to remove the branch, the tree, or take any other action.
Sure.
Second.
Because it may come to taking the whole tree down at that point.
So let's make sure Stephanie's got the motion.
I got it.
Clearly, okay, and seconded by
That little guy's got it.
Justin.
Yep.
Any further discussion on Tim's motion? Those in favor? Those against? It passed.
Back to
Now,
the
can we
dam.
never hear from you again about this?
I hope so.
Oh, I hope so.
If we do, we'll deal with it at that time. So that's what the motion says we'll do. So
Back to the dam. There are quite a few cedar trees and brush that are growing in it, and it's been brought to my attention the last time we had a dam inspection that that's a no-no. It weakens the dam in lots of different ways, and we haven't had an inspection in a while, so we haven't come back to look at it. But nonetheless, there's brush and cedar trees and other stuff growing on the dam in the rock area that needs to be cut out and taken care of.
all right,
And while you're talking about that, not to
go ahead.
interject, but there was a discussion when that dam was rehabbed a while back. It comes from Gary Hansen, former city attorney. He said that there was a directive that would have to be inspected and perhaps, I guess, repointed in a way, meaning something holding the dam in has restored or checked. I don't know any more details than that.
Do you know intervals, how often that needs to be done?
I think there's probably something in the records which should show that with the last time he had it done.
I felt like the last time Mike came in here with the report of the inspection, he began with, we had the dam inspected because we're obligated to have it done every.
Yeah.
And I don't remember well enough to know, fill in the blanks with numbers.
Yeah, I can't remember that either.
I feel like
But
it's every couple of years.
I thought it was
so-
on my
okay, well, if we're getting it inspected, then that shouldn't be a
Yeah.
problem. But that's,
Yes.
that was a concern of his. So, so
I'll
Fair
take
enough.
action on that and get with Mike and we'll go out there and inspect it and see what we're looking at, okay?
maybe go out there and
Might be
spray.
small enough,
I
might be
can
small
tell
enough, we
you
can get it
that
resolved
I have
quickly
cut
before it becomes.
65 cedar trees off of the dam already, and it is a chore and a hell of a job.
How big are the trees?
Anywhere from
Give me a diameter of the trunk of the tree.
anywhere from like that to this.
That's a big cedar tree right there.
That
Yeah.
was the second
My
one.
dad's talked about handing all the grandkids sauce. and
Right.
running around
But
that
then,
neighborhood.
well,
Oh,
Yeah.
those cedar trees
They're
are
just
stunning.
still
it'd be
annoying.
easy.
Because I thought
I'll
that I
talk to
could
Mike.
just
I'll
do
talk
it
to
myself, and it was a lot of work. And I thought, I'm not getting
All right.
paid.
Next thing on the agenda is buoy and the pontoon boat that swapped out there. Was that yours, Brett?
I put the sunk boat on there because we've been aware of this boat since last summer. We've taken no action on it and done nothing for it. People have come in and complained. We said that we were going to take care of it.
Mhm.
But yet we have sent out no letters to anybody. We have not found out who the owner is. People have talked to people, but nobody really has done anything, and the boat's just sinking and sinking and sinking. I think I made mention about the CO2 torch and it's whatever that's in there. So that's sunk into the lake now. So is that a liability to us because we're aware of it? And if a pontoon boat comes over, it hits that oxygen tank and it explodes. I mean, I'm just throwing something out there. Like, it's a serious issue and we need to do something about it. Like, immediately. It's going on a year or longer that this
I
has
think
been going on.
Stephanie and I have a little information on that boat. I think.
Oh, you know who it is? And a letter's been sent to them?
No, that's not what I said. I said we have some information on that. Don't be putting words in anybody's mouth, please, okay? 'Cause
It was a question.
It was confusing. It's confusing to everybody, okay? My understanding is that Brian Johnson still owns that pontoon boat.
Did you ask Brian Johnson?
There was a deal made for Brian Johnson to sell it to
Shutters.
Shutters. That deal fell through because Brian Johnson could not come up with the title work or the ownership paperwork needed to get the thing transferred, so it never was transferred out. However,
This is according to Shutters.
right,
Just want
it's
to make that
according to
clear.
Shutters. No letters have been written, but it's information you guys need to be aware of. So that we aren't really now at this point fishing for who the owner is. Last record of owner happens to be Brian Johnson. As far as I'm concerned, that's where the letter needs to go.
I didn't
Okay.
think any of that.
Those
was
shutters
information.
did tie that boat up to that dock and
That's what we
paddle
always
it over
heard.
to where it's at and take it from the marina from Deb last year. So I'm curious why they would do all of that.
From their understanding, I think what happened was the minutes went out. He called City Hall and said, I heard our name was brought up in the last meeting. I said, I don't know because I wasn't there. And he said, well, I can tell you that my nephew was trying to purchase that boat. It did not go through because the paperwork could not come up with a clear title. And so he said a transaction was never made, even though he was using that boat to work on a dock.
Did he explain why he tied it up to
did
somebody
not.
else's random dock instead
did
of
not.
his own?
That is all the information that he gave me.
And
Okay.
we don't know for sure that he did it.
Yeah, we
Somebody
do. We
may-
have video of it.
Oh, we do?
Well, a neighbor has video of the whole incident, yes.
Oh.
And that actual neighbor I talked with today, and they had spoken with Jeb Reidinger, and he had told them that him and Brian Johnson were going to be getting that boat out because Shutters were buying it because their son had a dock to build on the lake and was wanting to use it.
It's very much a he said, she said. I don't
Yeah.
know if you're, I
Well,
don't
we
know.
can get a hold of Johnson and find out.
But me putting this on there because I know this, maybe a letter needs to be sent to both of them and they can come to the next meeting. Because that's the only way I feel like this is gonna be getting the ball rolling.
I
Because
agree.
I have a he said, she said, you two have a he said, she said, I'm sure Tim has a he said, she said, but still nothing's happening. So that's what I wanna say on that.
Okay.
And then the buoys, which I brought up, well, I know Tim's brought up last year a lot. I brought up again, but we still have no buoys. And at this rate, there's gonna be no buoys on a holiday weekend, which means nobody knows the correct safe distances to be from anything. And this has been an ongoing issue and complaint and concern from residents at the lake for multiple years now. And I was hoping that we could get this nipped in the bud before this season, and it seems like we're not getting it done.
Did we not discuss buying more buoys at the last meeting? And nothing got
All
pressed.
we've done is discuss stuff, but we've never made decisions on anything.
So when we discussed possibly buying buoys, did we ask for bids or costs associated with that? I don't recall.
It wasn't in, from what I heard in the meeting, that wasn't stated.
It was discussed, we had no safe way to put them out.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's
Okay.
all. that was
And I don't know if I
discussed.
brought up
And
in the
we didn't have
meeting or
one.
not, if anybody knows anybody, a business that places buoys for people that we could hire to take the buoys out and put there for us. So because of the safety issues that we have with our boat and employees doing it. And I'm willing to do that if anybody knows, or make a motion or talk to people that do that, but I don't know anybody.
I don't know.
Yeah,
But
another
that's
lake.
what I was
When the bait
thinking.
shop opened, when Julie opened the bait shop,
Marina.
there was one buoy. Then a week later, another buoy showed up. 2 weeks ago, another buoy showed up. That means there's 3 for sure missing buoys, and some of them aren't even in the right spots that are there.
The one that was next to my neighbor's dock has wandered around and now is next to my dock.
So that makes 4.
Someone else called in at City Hall the other day and said that they were nervous about the buoy hitting their $80,000 boat. And he was pretty ticked off.
Because
So,
it's not next to.
Well, yeah, it is. In talking with people at the lake, that's always been a concern for them is buoys and placing them and having them in the right appropriate spots because it's something that they feel like we as the city never give them. Though I know we have made buoys and we have put them out there, so I know we have done it. But it's gonna be Memorial Day weekend and we have no.
We need to fix Johnston's boat and use it.
Doesn't need pontoon, you know where there's one at.
My question on that
Hoist
one,
on it, that would be great. It'd be perfect for that.
Well, mine's, yeah.
a follow-up question on that pontoon. When I've been out there at least a half a dozen times to put my eyes on that pontoon and take my own pictures and talk to multiple of the neighbors. That pontoon has stickers up to 2012 for the boat being registered, and then it's like it was never registered after that. So it's somebody's boat, and when we find out whose boat it is, they, in my opinion, they have some back years and fees to be paying us.
We decided last year that they would be contacted and cough up those fees. That was decided at this table last year.
And
It
Yes.
wasn't
Did
pursued,
not.
obviously.
What
follow
he
up
just
and
said.
through.
Did you see what he said without speaking?
That's what I'm saying. It obviously wasn't pursued. It wasn't followed up on. And sort of like the same thing about this EPA stuff. If we just talk about it and don't follow up on it, then it gets lost in the wind.
He was directed.
Okay,
If you
that answers that
want
question,
to,
doesn't it?
I can make phone calls to different marinas at different lakes
that'd be awesome.
and see
How they put their buoys out.
if I can get some answers.
Okay.
I will do that.
And I want to reiterate, like, I am not getting on our employees at all for not having the buoys out or not getting anything done. Like,
I
I
don't know if our employees
understand
have a boat.
their restraints in doing this, but then that falls on us to decide how we're gonna do it when,
They've
They
always
can't.
told us how dangerous it is.
right.
I will start making calls
For
tomorrow.
years I've heard that. I wouldn't want to do it.
Okay. There's no motions here being made for this subject, is there? Are you're gonna research, we're gonna research the buoys and how we can get them in here and the cost, right? And then we can discuss buying
And
them.
if you, as the mayor, would ask Mike again about the boat and if
I've
it's
got
been
it
in
in
the
my
shop and
notes.
hasn't
I've got it in my
got it
notes.
tuned up or whatever.
Yeah.
And ask Mike if he knows of some place that can do that or somebody.
I can do
would
that
have
too,
a
but it's not gonna
safer
stop
vessel
Michelle from
for
making
us
her
to
phone
do so.
calls, right?
Pardon me?
I can ask Mike if he knows a place where they can come up with, but it won't stop you from.
No,
doing
I'm
your-
gonna go ahead and make
do
phone
some-
calls.
Sure, okay. very
And
good.
then if they have any recommendations, I will call whatever they
Okay.
recommend,
All right,
if that's okay.
that's okay with me.
As far as the sunken boat goes, I moved to send a letter to Brian Johnston and Paul Shutter about the boat, and maybe that will stir a fire under them for
And
one
ask
of
them,
them.
to attend the meeting.
Yes.
On, May what,
Ooh, I don't know if
23rd?
you want Brian.
at the next
I
meeting? Yes, May 23rd.
You won't.
What's that?
I don't.
What were you gonna say? You know what?
Nothing.
You don't do
I'm
nothing? Is that what you're telling me? Why are we paying you?
No, that is not
Okay.
what
I'm
I
just
said. I
saying.
was agreeing down
Okay.
there. I was
All right.
listening down there and I was agreeing.
Okay, all right.
That is a motion.
I second it.
We have a motion to send letters to Brian Johnson and
Paul Shutter.
who?
Paul
Paul
Shutter.
Shutter, and ask them to be in attendance to discuss this pontoon boat.
And by the way, Paul was not the one who called me. Just saying. Anyways.
Does it need to go to who called you?
I don't know.
Well, are there any other possible owners
No,
involved?
What's this
he
letter?
did say nephew.
Do we need to
so-
send it to Jeb Ridinger as well?
Is this letter going to contain the bill for the last, from what did you say, 2012?
You think they're gonna show up then if we toss that in at them? What's the bill? $25 a year? $30 a year? What?
Well, what this notice
That
should
depends on
be,
the
it should be a nuisance watercraft under city code for removal. And the choices are, they can remove it, the owner can remove it, or we remove it, and we charge them.
So is Todd sending the letter?
I can send the letter if somebody gives me the addresses. I don't have a problem with that at all.
I don't have a problem with you doing it either.
Okay,
I
Might
will get
pack
you
a
the
little
address.
more punch that way.
Now, to answer Tim's question,
I would appreciate it if the letter entailed the fact that they are also on the hook for the past several years. We need to come up with whatever the
Boat fees.
fee, the boat fee was for the last 10 years.
from 2013 to,
Last year we had a total,
2022.
we had it tallied up. I know that because we
Did we?
passed that on.
I think you probably need to identify the owner for sure before you start talking about
Yes.
fees, because then we're gonna start making people mad who aren't even involved in the actual vote.
and they're probably not even gonna show up at the meeting.
well, so
Well, it's
Let me
one
get
of two, and they all know the situation, and neither one of them have felt the need to defend themselves up to this point, and it's over a year,
okay,
and clearly it's a safety issue.
somebody look up the title information. Do we have any indication officially, but what is this about?
So we have the registration number, 2012 is the last one. Is that what you're saying? Do we
That
have
was
the
the last
records of
sticker I
who?
could see.
Do we
Yeah,
have the
that's
records of
what
who?
was in the
You have it.
pictures.
I know.
We
Wouldn't the
have,
state of Kansas also wrote their number?
Yeah.
we
Well,
have,
we're not worried about, they can run their own.
Yeah.
research could probably be done. It's gonna take, because they're files that are about that, well, probably 2 files that are about that thick for every year. You have to go through every receipt to find that. That's the only way to find a boat sticker. Unfortunately.
Well, and all the boat stickers from the prior years are on that boat. So it goes up into a point and then it's stopped. And we require all boats to have stickers on them.
I mean, it shouldn't be that hard because technically
So
they
my
should
question
be
to
in
Todd
numerical
is-
order if they're
is
handing
if
them
we
out
read
that way.
State database
so-
though? It's a state title,
Oh,
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
if that's the state number,
Gotcha.
Thought that's what they did, that
I mean, if it was a driver's license or
Right.
you can look it up.
And you should be able to call
Sorry, probably just
or
scared
Kansas
the
Fish
shit
and
out of me.
Game
I
or
was trying to
whatever
just look
to
it
say
up.
who owns this KA boat.
That was this winter.
This is the license plate essentially.
And that
I can do that.
Well, would the
was
motion
the
be
sailing team
then
that is now
revised?
in the lake.
Send a letter to to whoever owns that boat.
That was when it was tied up to Cindy's dock and banging into her dock.
Who made the motion?
Correct.
I didn't.
Would you do
This was
that
all
or
the
would you want
junk
both?
that was on it
What-
that are
If there's
now in the
up to
lake.
3 people or just the owner?
And that's
If
some of
we
the
can
I
junk
can,
have-
I mean, I can
that
edge it just to say,
And
it
it
has
is,
come to our attention, the official records show this person's the owner. Our records in contact with the office indicates that this may be owned by the other 2. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do it at this meeting. Please come to this meeting if you wish to address the ownership. Otherwise, we will make our own assessment as to who's the owner according to
Right.
the information at hand
yes.
and penalize severely anybody who dares say
Because
their name.
our last bait shop
the ice
operator
log.
already towed it over to the bait shop
And it was
area and they were
sinking.
supposed to come over, fill out registrations, tag it and do all of that. And in the middle of the night, they came back over and took it away from the bait shop. So they literally are breaking the law there, right? For reclaiming it back when they were supposed to come.
Well, I mean, it's private, it's not our issue that they took it. Our issue is ownership first and then nuisance second. So if if you guys are okay with that procedure, then
Okay, that's
let me
fine.
go.
A ball is rolling and that's what I wanted.
Okay, I'm gonna grab Michelle right quick before she gets that thing put away.
And,
That number
Yeah,
needs to be given to Todd.
I'll-
Okay.
Or
I
make a
got,
copy of it, whatever. We can make a copy of it and you can have it back for your files if you like. Okay, he's gonna give it back to you in just a minute.
No problem.
All right.
I think
So-
I can trust him. Can I?
no.
How far can you throw him? That's the question.
Well,
Okay, so we've got a motion. We've got a motion on the floor
Okay.
to contact the last
That's back to
known
you. Thank you.
owner of this pontoon boat and ask them to attend the meeting and whatever else Todd's gonna do in his letter.
Instead of saying last owner, could you be anybody that's affiliated with it?
I think he would put that in his letter. Something, you're the last.
I'm gonna say that you're either officially recognized as the owner by the state, or there's information that we have been provided that you may claim an interest in the boat.
Mhm.
That's
That
what
works.
writing the letter and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Well, because 2 parties are doing some type of claiming by messing with it and dealing with it and whatever.
You
So
get a vote on that?
I'm looking for, waiting on a second.
Michelle,
I
did.
already
Oh, did you? Okay, sorry, my bad. All
A
right.
long time ago.
Any further discussion on that?
Mhm.
All in favor? Pass this 5-0. So moving on right quick.
That's my favorite time for me.
The mayor concerns, or the mayor comments tonight I have is you all are aware that I went to the mayor's meeting, the 29th and 30th of April. Tons of information came out of that. I'm gonna buy some books at the city's expense that each one of the council members should have a copy of. And we're gonna make it part of the city council members' responsibility that when they're no longer on city council, they turn that book in so that the next person gets it, okay? Fair enough. And This is one thing that was talked about, and I like the idea on this. I want to pass this out to everybody, so everybody's got a copy of it. And I think it's something, take one, pass around. Not something we're going to discuss tonight. We're not even going to read it tonight, but I would like for you guys to read it and get an idea of what it says. It basically is a flow chart type deal on setting policy versus deciding on issues. I think it will help us in future meetings. And I really like the idea of it having an ordinance number associated with it. So if we have something we're going to discuss, we've got the ordinance with us and we can discuss it and I have to go chase it down. Okay. Also want to thank you for allowing me to go. It was very educational. And if at the next election we end up getting new council members, then they are allowed to go to these meetings as a new person on the thing. So it'd been nice if Michelle could have gone with me, but that's okay.
Well,
So-
I wasn't invited.
I know you weren't, because as my understanding at the time is only for new mayors. Then when I get down there, I find out it's not only just for new mayors, but new council persons as well. So maybe as a new council person, even though you're not elected next year, maybe you could go as a new council person then.
That'd be cool.
And anybody else that wants to go, I wouldn't have a problem sending them either.
I have one quick question.
Okay.
You said that we can put down a miles or mileage.
Yes.
When I run out to the bait house all the time and make checks like I do, I can log all that. Do I have to turn that in like every 2 weeks? And I keep a running
Well,
tally of it? Because I made a spreadsheet.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you what I've done so far this year. The first month I kept track of it. I think I had one entry. I told Stephanie I wasn't gonna bother her for one entry. Did she oppose me drawing a line and saying, okay, that was for the month of March, now this is for the month of April? She said, not a problem. So I don't, did I?
Mhm.
I did. Okay, so then I did another one and this same thing happened.
I forgot to use it.
1 month hardly had anything in it. Don't get caught up in a situation where we're looking at 5 or 6 months worth of data that she's tallying up. So I think 2 months, if you don't have anything for 1 month to turn in, or very, very little, then I don't have a problem with you waiting another month.
Okay, I have date, miles, and purpose of visit.
Exactly.
Is there anything else?
When you say miles, are you putting total or beginning and ending on your odometer?
Well, I was just putting total. You want me to put beginning and?
I thought we decided that it was 15 miles to the lake and around
Well,
it, so that
that could be
more
from
than-
my house, but from Tim's, it might be more, might be less. From yours,
14 and a half.
mine is closer to 15 point something. So in 2 trips, I'll have 31 miles. So whatever. Odometer's fine, or we decide to make it a flat 15 miles one way.
I'd sure rather do the flat number than write down a 6-digit number.
I suppose
Like this,
technically,
well, I mean, if you're, any way you record it can be determined, I think. it's
50
fine.
trips to the park, that's
You put down that you took 15 miles or whatever.
okay, I'm good with the way you're doing it. Thank you.
the last thing that I wanted to say, are we done?
I'm done. I just want to tell you, I want to thank you for allowing me to go.
Is we had a special meeting, or we called it whatever, to talk about streets and alleys, and we decided about a plan to start at the top and work our way down about cleaning the streets and gutters and alleys. Last year, it was never followed through, but all of that was talked about and agreed upon, and you could go back and look at that, but you're the new mayor, so if you could be on that with the employees, because like I said, we had the special meeting. It was discussed about what we were going to be doing and as far as directing and keeping things done. And if you could do that, like the last person did not, that would be awesome. That's all I have to say, because I'm the one meeting and I've been checking in on it and getting nothing. So now I'm just going to ask you personally to take care of it.
That's fine. I'll look into it. But it all goes back to what I said moments ago, that we do things all the time if we never follow up on it. So I'm writing notes on these agendas as we have them. And if there's a need to follow up on it, I'm asking her to put it on the next meeting.
I
So we
think
stay on
everything
top
should
of
be
it.
reoccurring
Until
until
it's solved. Exactly.
I agree. I moved to adjourn.
I can't second it. but-
I'll second your adjourning.
All right. Have a motion to adjourn and seconded, and it passes.
Copies,
5-0.
copies of McGivern's reply brief right there.
Thank
You
you.
want a
He
copy?
said that outside of the meeting.
Yay.
There's nothing green about this.
I know.
Give me that paper.
Plastic one of them.
So quickly before everybody,
Hi.
we just adjourned out of the meeting, but I sent Lisa and Connie a quick text about